the game enjoyable.
And he did miss a receiver there. Obviously, he's had a really good drive so far here. Now we're going to see, we've seen it with his legs.
Yep.
We've got to see if he can do it with his arm as well. He had a receiver somewhat open there.
Yep.
Hit it just below his feet.
Yep.
How is his passing attack? Obviously,
his
we see his athleticism.
His passing has been okay. As I mentioned earlier, we're missing Deera today, who's his number one contact. But we're also missing Jacob Shotton, who is his second guy. So majority of our passing touchdowns have been caught by those two guys. So I know we've made some adjustments this week in practice to counter for that. So if you look to the left now, we've got Josh Penny at wide out, who's actually a DB.
And here's a keep by the quarterback, but that's sniffed out by Leicester, who gang tackles him here actually for a loss of about 5. This is a tough decision here. Now, in warm-ups, I did see Northumbria's place kicker hitting him from, I'd say, about 40 yards.
Yeah,
so,
he's a decent kicker.
But in this rain, it's really hard. So I do think we're going to see him go for it here.
I was just about to say that. In the rain, it would be. But, yeah, Matt Carter's a good kicker. But I would fancy him at our place on the AstroTurf, but not today.
Yeah. It is a beautiful pitch here at Leicester Road Stadium, but it's wet. There's nothing you can do about that. So here they are going for it on 4th down. Receivers bunched with a tight end and a receiver out to the right. One running back to the right of the quarterback here. Takes a snap, fakes a handoff, rolls to his right, looks downfield, but throws it behind number 1 there. Could not make the completion to Paul Richardson. No, that's not the Paul Richardson that plays for the Washington Redskins. It is indeed a different Paul Richardson.
It's another Paul Richardson, yeah.
Bit of a different build. I don't think the Redskins receiver wears a neck roll like that.
No, Paul's played for us for a couple of years now. He's had a long history in the game. He played at Gateshead and went to Leeds Uni, so he's been around for many, many years.
While we change possessions here, let me just take a note to point out that we are at Onside Productions doing 2 different broadcasts simultaneously today, or simultaneously, depending on who you ask. And so today we are getting some help from Mick, who has followed the Vikings, obviously, and helps out with Vikings TV as well. So he's an expert on them. And we've followed the Leicester Falcons all game, so quite a bit of depth going into this game. On that first down there, we just saw a run off to the right, just for a gain of about a yard, leading to a 2nd and 9. Northumbria's got to be a bit disappointed there to not get any points on the board after such a successful drive, but also have some things to take on that and make adjustments for.
Yeah, I think they would have wanted to score there, but hey-ho, you know, we've had many close games this year, so we're used to keeping it tight.
Bit of a familiar formation as we see. 2 out to the left, 2 split backs. You're going to be hearing that quite a bit today. They love having both those backs in there to give them that versatility. And in this case, quite a bit of pass protection. An excellent pass downfield by Bremer to number 81. What an excellent throw and catch. He really dropped that one in the bucket, got that to the correct shoulder for a long completion down to the 31-yard line. He had all the time in the world there. He had 2 running backs in for pass pro that didn't need to block anyone. So great play by them. But again, field gets a bit tighter, just like it did for the Vikings on the last drive. We'll see what they do down here inside the 35. Today's a bit of an interesting day. These people played all year in the sun, in the heat, and now it almost feels like an autumn game here. It's probably, what is it, 12 to 15 range on the...
Yeah, I mean, speaking from our experience, we've had 6 home games, including the playoffs, and every one of them has been boiling hot. So, yeah, it's a little bit strange today.
Now there you see a run by, as I said, they run a bit of a 3-headed monster attack with the Falcons here, and that is Ogundana. We'll be hearing, I suspect, quite a bit from here today. Shifty, good feet, trusts his feet, makes a great play. Last week in their playoff game, had an excellent, I would say, 3 clear cuts on a long, long run there down to the right side, and you're going to see that quite a bit. I wouldn't call him a scat back because he's not afraid to go between the tackles, but you are going to see quite a bit of fancy footwork. So now he is there on the left side of the quarterback, and that is Joe Bremer, who's had that big completion already. Let's see what they can do here. Drops back, pressured by number 11, gets away, gets a completion just to the sideline, again to number 81, a bit of fancy footwork, and gets it down inside the 15. Moving the ball where there was some hot pursuit by the defense there.
That's poor tackling by the Vikings.
Just couldn't quite get to him there on the quarterback, and then gave up a few extra yards there after the completion. As we go in here, it's no scoring so far, still 0-0 for both these teams. But they're both 10-0. It's not like they got here by accident. So I'm not expecting teams to make a lot of silly mistakes. You're not going to see that as you do throughout a lot of Brit ball. No offense to some teams, but obviously as you go throughout the year, they're different levels, of course.
Yeah, of
so
course.
when you get to this level, all the windows are a bit smaller. All the tackles are a bit more likely to be made.
Still get mistakes, though.
Yeah, of course. So here's Brammer rolling out to his left this time. Pops it up. There's 2 receivers and a defender. Number 21 had to play a bit of defensive back there. That ball was chucked up. 2 defenders right in the area. A bit of an odd play design to have 2 receivers that close to each other as well. I'm not exactly sure what the plan was there. Maybe just try to chuck it up and see who can catch it.
Well, he's brave throwing it towards Connor and Phil. I've got to be honest. You know, Connor, as I said, has had 11 interceptions in 10 games. So
he almost had another one there.
He did,
I think 21, if he hadn't switched over to DB and batted that down. But sometimes you got to do that in receivers.
Absolutely.
So that's a heads-up play by Kieran Watts. Split back formation again. Taking his time to read the defense, Joe Brammer. Hands it off to Gums, but Gums is swallowed up.
That's Matt Carney.
What a great play by Matt Carney there. Nice tackle.
Matt's normally an offensive lineman, but he's filling in today because we're short on the line. So,
well, he certainly looks the part.
Well, he's an experienced guy. He's actually the head coach of Newcastle University as well, the Newcastle Raiders. So he knows the game inside out, and he's as tough as nails.
On both these teams, there are quite a few players from different universities, and there are going to be a lot of familiar faces for people who watched the Uni Bowl final, because you had Durham versus Derby, and both of these teams are located very close to both those universities.
Yeah, there's a lot of links.
So there's a lot of Durham Saints on this Vikings team, and there are quite a few Derby Braves on the Falcons. Not exclusively, of course, but certainly some familiar faces that you'll see from those squads. And it's no surprise that they'd end up in this game as well. Drops back loads of time, reads the whole field. Tight coverage there, but he gets the completion.
Out of bounds.
Let's see what they call. You got one ref with his hands up. There looked like there was a bit of discussion between the 2 refs, but they seceded to the one with the better viewing angle, I think, there. And they call the completion there. So Joe Brammer he had a lot of time there again. It seems to me that the Vikings might need to put more pressure here, because the 2 times that those running backs were in for pass pro, way too easy of a completion for Joe Brammer.
We've been looking at film all week, for a few weeks now, in anticipation of this game, and we've highlighted the offensive line for Leicester as their strength, really. That, you know, they are a good unit.
Of course, they are here, and that extra point is, what are they?
Good.
It is indeed good. While we switch fields here, I'm going to take the time to thank our sponsors here. Our primary sponsor for the game is EHL Commercial Law. They get the deal done, not at any cost. Sometimes their advice may be that it's not the right deal, but if it is the right deal, they get the deal done without wasting time, only focusing on the key commercial points. They're not lawyers because they enjoy lawyering. They are commercial lawyers because they're passionate as a team about business and ensuring their clients as best as they can for what they set out to achieve. So again, that is EHL Commercial Law, the primary sponsors of today. Other sponsors of today include one of my favorites, Plucked. Great chicken over there at Plucked. Got Walkabouts as well, Carrington Arms, and DCI Art Form. We'll be going more into those throughout the game as well, but just want to give a big shout out to our sponsors here, allowing us at Onside to sit here and stream this game. It's great.
I think just to pick up on that point, Sean, it's an area that a lot of teams don't get involved with sponsorship, and you know they're the lifeblood of the club, because you get a couple of sponsors who give you a little bit of cash or support in some way, then
it really does make a difference.
It does.
It does, and it's not just about kit. I mean, there's a lot of things in this game. I'm a coach myself, and these things add up, and it really makes a difference for these players to be able to focus on what's important, which is what's inside these. Well, I was going to say white lines, but they're actually blue on this pitch. Inside these blue lines today, which is competing on a day like today, you can focus on the football here, and that's what we're going to have. Time for a chance to see a response here from the Vikings. Though I do have to admit, whoever did fund their kit and design it, very sharp kit by both these teams. Big fan.
I'll take a little bit of credit for the Vikings.
There you go. Good job.
Thank you.
Very.
It was a joint effort, of course. But,
see, you didn't just copy another Vikings team. It's a very fresh kit. I'm a big fan.
Now
here's a big running back there, number 1.
Paul Richardson.
Wow, what a big burly fullback that is.
The story behind the kit was we put it to a vote, and because of the Newcastle bias, we went with black and white. but because we had some Sunderland lads as well, we put a tint of red in.
There you go. Well,
So
I think that's a good compromise.
There's the story.
Good compromise. Well, that's a bit of a difference there. You saw Paul Richardson trying to make a completion on the last drive, and it looks like they're see if they can get a bit of luck on the ground with him here. Big burling back, I think hard to bring down. He's going to get you 2 or 3 quite a bit of the time. And there he is again, gets you another 2 or 3, just like we said. He reminds me a bit of the Longest Yard film, that big linebacker with the big neck roll there.
Yeah.
Kind of an old school throwback. You see that more modern spread offense. It's great to see some of those big Berlin lads bowling their way down the middle of the field.
It's not always about style and panache, is it?
Yeah, well, you know, if it gets in the end zone, who cares how you get there, right?
Absolutely.
Well, the quarterback's in with the play now, marching the unit up there. Let's see what Poindexter can do. Quite a dual threat here, and they have back to a different running back there. So you got 2 athletes in the backfield right now. See if they can make some plays. Man in motion from left to right. 21 going out, but that's just a decoy because the running back number 7 goes up the middle. That's Johnny again.
It's just about a first down.
It looks like he got it to me, and they are indeed saying it's a first down there. So a good way to keep that drive going there. 3 solid runs. If you can do that, going to get a lot of success. First downs on the ground, hard to gain. They get that with no passes there. And that becomes more important as this field gets eaten up. You can already see, even though we're still in the first quarter, you're starting to get just a little bit more grass and mud marks throughout the middle of the field between those hash marks, a little bit of discoloration. So running games becomes more important.
I think it is still raining. It doesn't look like it is, but it is. I don't think it's stopped since the game
it's certainly
started.
hard to see from here, and I'm sure it's even harder to see on telly, but it's definitely there. Motion again, and it is handed off to the wide receiver,
Joyce.
number 21. And he's close to a first down as well. He's gotten at least 8 yards. Let's see where they spot him here. Looks like they brought him down just at the 40-yard line, so it's going to be a 2nd and 2, 2nd and maybe a long 1. Gives them a chance here to maybe free up the playbook a bit. I wouldn't be surprised to see a pass here now that it's 2nd down and so short. See what happens here.
I wouldn't be too sure about that, Sean.
We'll see. Maybe number 1 in at running back.
Yeah, I think I don't think you're going to see a lot of passing today, not from the Vikings.
Well, we'll see what happens here. 2 wide receivers out to the left, and 1 running back to his left. That's motion again by 21. They've done the same setup 3 times in a row, but they've done 2 different plays. This time it's a QB keep, so it's a bit of an option. Gets around the edge and indeed does get that first down. Great play there by Poindexter. Gets the first down, brings him inside the 35. So that's 3 plays in a row, 3 times with very similar looks, and they do 3 different things. It's a very versatile attack, and it's hard for defenses to counter. Would you say that option, did that evolve throughout the year, or did they start from day one?
It's evolved within the last week.
Oh, really?
Because of the lack of receivers. So it was something that, 2 guys, number 21 and number 25, both normally play defense. They've not played offense at all season. So the lads have put some real effort in this week with the coaches to bring up some plays that we felt were not risk-free, but low risk.
Well, sometimes you just got to get it in the hands of athletes and then make the defense guess.
Absolutely.
And that's certainly what they're doing here with this option attack.
So none of those plays they would have seen in any scout film before or any games.
And you know what? Sometimes it gives you quite a bit of advantage. We saw that with the Philadelphia Eagles in the Super Bowl earlier this year. New quarterback in, only a few games in the playoffs with Nick Foles. They switched over to the RPO. Not a lot of scouting film. Really helped them out.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're seeing that a bit here. You got an option attack here.
So what you're saying is you're actually saying we're like the Philadelphia Eagles.
Well,
you're comparing it
in the fact that injuries led to a new playbook. Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's that motion again, but he just brings him in, fakes the handoff to get the extra blocker from the motion man, hits into the back of his own man, and Poindexter gets about 5 yards. Taylor Brown in there on the tackle. It's not a bad strategy to just try to stay away from the middle of the field with Taylor Brown if you're trying to face this Falcons defense.
Yeah.
Vikings go in there, running to the left. By the time Taylor Brown gets there, you've already gained some yards. Not a bad shot, really. Breaking the huddle now behind that big offensive line. Poindexter in. Johnny out to his right. 2 receivers out to the left. Just setting up on the line there with that bunch extra blocker set on the right. A keep by Poindexter there, but that got red. Lost a yard or 2 there. Yeah, I think there's a chance that I was assuming that is a read that he could have made. I think he should have handed it off to the running back. But you know what? That's pretty easy to say from up here when I can see all 22 players at once. It's pretty hard to do when they're coming at you full speed.
The luxury we have, eh?
Exactly right. Big third down here, trying to keep the momentum. 3rd and 6 here in the early days of the second quarter. Same formation. I'll say a tight end. It's more of an H-back, I suppose. Number 1 in H-back to the right. Johnny and Poindexter in behind center. That is a handoff. And he's just stuffed, just swallowed by a sea of Falcons there. Or I don't know. What's a group of Falcons called? A flock?
I would guess so, yeah.
I guess a flock of Falcons.
Yeah, flock of Falcons.
Well, there was a whole flock of Falcons on that play. You have to think they're going for it here on 4th and knew that, or you wouldn't run it up the middle on 3rd and 6. Because they're not going to punt it from here. So you got to assume they knew that was 4-down territory.
Yeah.
They thought they could catch them off guard with the run. Didn't work.
Yeah. We've traditionally gone for it on 4th down unless it's been an obvious punt situation all season.
Once you're in the 30 in this raid, too long to kick, too short to punt. You're only going to gain 5-10 yards off a punt. It's not going to do much. All right, here we go again. Poindexter under center. Johnny to his right. Same formation. Let's see if they can get a different result. Runs out to his right, follows his blockers, makes a shifty jump inside, drives forward. He's right near that marker, and they have given him the first down there. That's a heads-up play. And you know what it really is? I'd say it's a heads-forward play because he had the dive to get that one.
That was close. Too close for comfort.
It was very close there, but he doesn't drive it, so they're now inside the 25. You know what they're dangerously close to being inside field goal range because I did see their kicker make some 40-yard kicks earlier. So from here, that would be it'd be a 42-yard kick, but I saw him make them in practice from 40. So. Yeah. Or 40 yards from the 30, of course.
I don't think you're going to see a field goal unless it's pretty close.
We'll see. We'll see what they do here. Let's see what Leicester can do. They have 4 down D linemen here and 3 linebackers that are creeping ever closer and closer as there are more running plays.
That's Paul Richardson with a catch.
Paul Richardson out there running a nice out route. Gets a catch just before going out of bounds to stop the clock. Now it's down to a 2nd and 5. This Falcons team, they really ran the score up. I don't mean that in a disrespectful way, but they had a tremendous set of games there. And then as you get to the playoffs, it's just closer and closer each game. So you come down here.
Well, the last one wasn't very close.
Well, it was close on the field for longer than you think. But I agree with you. The final score wasn't very close. Yeah. But as you get here in the playoffs, it gets a little more tough. So great show by the Vikings here. On that play, the Falcons made a nice move inside on their D-line.
Different running back there. That's Tigo Diegbe, who's a long-term Viking servant. He's played 40-plus games now.
Wow, 40-plus games? Yeah. You go, and you know, with senior ball, you only get about 10, 11 games. Well, maybe 13 with playoffs.
We've only played 51 in our entire career.
Well, that's a first at university if you're going by percentages. You played 80% of the games. Right, that's an exceptional first.
Right.
Last week, the Falcons had a player celebrating 100 games with his club. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I saw
In fact, there's actually 66. You can see him there on the sideline. Here's that's a fumble. That was a backwards pass. He was thrown to a wide receiver screen out the 21, but Poindexter actually threw it backwards, so that was a live ball, but there weren't any Falcons there to take advantage of the mistake. Just a low pass, but what you do get there is you actually lose all of those yards. So now instead of being 4th and 5, it's bumped up to 4th and 11. You're really on the outside edge of field goal range, but you're too close to punt. So then you get a really long 4th and 11.
They're going to go for this.
Well, of course they're going to go for it, but it's going to be a difficult conversion. Let's see what he can do here. Probably a bit too far away to do these up the middle runs. So I wouldn't be surprised to see one of those roll out with just one receiver over near the first down marker. That seems to be what they've gone for.
Have you seen any Vikings games this season, Sean? No, it's a serious question.
This is my first.
Okay. Watch this space.
There he is, does roll out. Like I said, he's got one receiver just to the first down marker.
That's it. Josh Penny.
Completion there.
It's just short, I think.
Just short,
Looks
so
like
it
it's
doesn't
short.
get the conversion. You had a high-low action there. You had number 1 running just past the marker, 25. Josh, you would have had to have him get upfield after that completion. On there, you have to be aware of the field. You have to say, Josh was short of the first down marker. There was a defender right on his tail. He wasn't going to gain yards after the catch. You might have to see if you can get that down to number 1, but he couldn't have been there, so maybe you just take what they give you.
Is that down to the fact that he doesn't play offense every week?
Of course.
This is the first week. You know,
Yeah,
so,
it's hard to read the game. Quarterback's most complicated position in probably any sport, but certainly in this sport.
Yeah.
Very difficult read. So now the Falcons had the ball inside their own 15-yard line. One receiver out to the right, and that is Alex Priest. There's not a lot of safety help, so if they do look for a pass, he's very much on his own. But they elect to go for the run up the middle.
And that's Dick Carr again. You see how he holds them up?
I can definitely see that. That's trying to force another fumble there. Leicester Falcons hasn't been on the field much for this game. Francis jumping up now. He's a big lad. If you look at Francis, you'd think he was a defensive end.
We played Leicester in pre-season way back in April, and he was a lump. And you know he played really well in that.
And he's
got
got
only a scrimmage, but
long strides, gets up to speed real quick once he gets around the edge, but he'll burrow right over you here.
Yeah, he's a bit of a beast.
Motion receiver from left to right. Stops. And there is Gums off to the left, running his way through tacklers for what looks like it's either a first down or a very short 3rd and 1. It is indeed a first down there. Adam Gums is a player you might not assume he's a running back if you're just tuning. If you're a Vikings fan tuning into this game for the Vikings, if you haven't seen the Falcons all year, you might look at Gums and maybe assume he's a fullback or a linebacker.
Yeah.
But he really is a crafty runner, and I'm sure he's aware of this. That he's not the tallest player out there, and you look at it and you say, what position is that? Very crafty. I've seen a lot of big conversions coming from Gums. They go to him in big moments of big games. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him be on the field for quite a bit of this.
It's always handy when you've got more than one in that position, isn't it? You can rotate and give them a rest.
Yeah, you don't have to tire out as much.
Tire them out, yeah, absolutely.
Here we go, split backs again. Fakes it to Gums, but hands it off to Francis, who explodes for a first down for a gain of about 15 yards. And that's what we're saying there. As soon as he had a bit of daylight, he got to full speed with those long strides, like a gazelle, mate, like a gazelle. Got these long legs, and they just, like the wind. What a run by Francis. It's fun to watch someone like that. Really, just as a football fan, it's fun to watch somebody who can run like that.
I mean, the one comment I'd make is very difficult when you're supporting one particular side to enjoy football as it should be.
I can empathize, but as you know, I'm neutral today, so I'm allowed to be neutral. It's fun to watch it. I think that's a forward pass, but the Viking player wisely jumped on it in case they rolled it a fumble, but it is an incompletion.
It's
so
probably been my biggest challenge whilst commentating for Vikings TV to remain as neutral as you can.
I can understand.
You don't want to upset people. You want to try and give a real opinion and not a biased one, but sometimes it's difficult.
I find that if you're getting equal complaints from fans of both teams, you're probably doing things right.
Exactly.
It's about right.
You're annoying both of them. Yeah.
I've done commentary for teams I've played for in the past, and it is difficult to remain unbiased. We get that, and no one's going to blame you for rooting for your mates.
You said what about me?
What?
You said what?
Social media, mate. Yeah. There's Francis getting hurdles over what must have been a cut block or a pancake, because Gums was laying on the ground, and Francis jumped over him like a hurdler to force a 3rd and 6 right at the 50-yard line. Directly at midfield there. Brammer looking to the sidelines to get the play and goes in there for the huddle. That rain's still going strong. Hard to see that from here, but it's not letting up.
It looks like it's here for the day, I think.
I think it's going to be here until the final whistle. Split backs again. Be interesting to see if they elect for another run, even though it's 3rd and 6. No, they go out for a pass. Leads the receiver, cuts it upfield, converts it there. That might have been a touchdown-saving tackle by that linebacker. He only had about one.
Coach Rooney shouting for something there, and there is now a flag.
I think there could be a. Well, let's see what the referee calls. I don't want to speculate, but
it's very dangerous. That.
Yeah, well, of course it is. Let's see what happened though. See if this gets called back. discussion there. And you see big number 66, Swain. I believe he's the one that celebrated 100th game, so it's good elder statesman to have talking to a ref there. I'd imagine he's probably pretty level-headed after 100 games. Let's see if we can get the call here.
Holding. Number 7. 10 yards from the flag. It remains third down.
Jared Gabadon there getting the holding call. So it's a repeat of third down, but from 10 yards further back. Well, 10 yards from where the spot of the foul was. So it's going to be third and, I'll say 11. Third and 11 here. That was a good completion. They're going to be upset that they had to give that one back, but probably would have been a first down only because of that hold. So let's see what they can do here on third and 11.
More upset if they'd gone for a TD.
Split backs again, 2 receivers to the right this time. Drops back here. He's got that heavy protection again, going deep, but that is a lob ball. That's definitely going to be called for interference. There's not much you can do there as a defender. The receiver's cutting back to the ball, jumping in the air, but the defender ran into his ankle, so I assume they're going to call a defensive interference there.
Is that catchable?
Well, that's probably what they're debating now. There's a herd of zebras there.
Is that my bias?
Pass interference. Defense, number 58. 15 yards from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
I can empathize with the defender there because what are you supposed to do when a receiver jumps in the air and you run into a guy when he's flown backwards towards you? But that is, preventing the catch. So now the Falcons are inside. They're right at the 35-yard line as we hear some brilliant music in the background. I hope our viewers can't hear that too much. I mean, it's fun to listen to, but I'd rather have you listen to our beautiful voices. You have this scratchy American voice.
Yeah, I think it makes a difference in the stadium if there's music.
Calming English local accent, then you get a scratchy American voice here for your commentators. And here is Francis breaking a tackle, stiff arming. It took at least 4 players to bring him down in total there, and you can see the frustration by the defensive line of the Vikings. Their number 99 pounding his fist into the ground. I think he had his hands on him, but just could not bring Francis down. And you were talking to me before the game. If you tackle him by anything but the legs, you're not bringing Francis down very easily.
No. We're well aware of that.
Trotting up to the line, the Leicester Falcons center. Gets set. 2 receivers out to the right. This time the 2 receivers are on the short side of the field, so we'll see if that changes what their plan is. Brammer looks like he's changing the play call, communicating with his receiver right there, Adam Priest. Fakes off there to one, goes to Francis. Francis extends the ball forward, but does not get the first. Going to be a third down and 1. So the Vikings defensive front, I know, are they missing anybody along that defensive line for this game? I know you have a few injuries today.
We've moved a few around. We normally got Connor Rimington, who is playing on the O-line today. So the D-line you've got there is generally what you've got. I mean, number 99, you mentioned Tom McHale, has been probably the most consistent all year.
That is a jump by number 99. That's amazingly that's a very well-timed play. Honestly, I wish we could show that on replay. Number 99.
I think that was 68.
Was it 68?
I think that was. It does look like 99 from here. Yeah.
I apologize. Yeah. Maybe I need some glasses. Can we get a sponsor to sponsor me if you get some new spectacles? Whoa. All brands available now.
That was Eddie Giannini, who's another Durham graduate.
That's a great play. So it looked like they were in a 3-4 front. They had a linebacker just kind of spying around. Now, I believe you're right. It is number 68. Goes up there. And he kind of turned his shoulder so he could, get skinny, and he snuck right in that A gap. You'd think a lot of the time that's an offsides, but he timed it absolutely perfectly, and the quarterback had no choice, but Brammer just had to run out of bounds.
Don't let Eddie call you skinny.
There's a flag there. Brammer's looking down, throws it. He does get the completion. I'm going to take I usually I shouldn't speculate on flags, but where they threw the flag, I don't know if this is going to stand. If it does, that's Reese for a completion and a first down, or Priest rather, for a first down, but the Falcons don't look very confident that they're going to keep that first down. They're already marching back for a huddle behind the line of scrimmage where it was before. See if we can get a call from the referee here. They got a bit of a conference, long distance there, and here's the call.
Personal foul. Shot block, 66-54. 15 yards previous spot, 4th down.
You called it, Sean?
Chop. Well, I would have assumed it was a hold considering on the location, but chop blocks, to me, that's probably a miscommunication along the offensive line. It's often a player decides to cut to beat someone individually, and maybe a guard or a center didn't have someone themselves, so they went high when someone else went low. I don't have a replay.
Is that your excuse as an offensive lineman?
You know, I played tackle, so I didn't have many chances to cut block. You don't cut block many ends.
I got it.
But if you're on the interior line, it's not unheard of.
I think that's the O-line union there. But yeah, I know what you mean. Sometimes it gets confusing. So
first punt of the day.
Yeah.
This is the first punt of the day here. It's a very unique punt formation from the Falcons. Let's see if the Vikings can do anything against it. That's a low line drive punt, and it's going to be fielded. Let's see if they can stop it before the end zone. Perfectly down inside the 5-yard line. That wasn't a beautiful punt, but it was an effective punt.
Well, the result was?
I think that's Taylor Brown. As I said, you're going to see him doing a lot of things today. He doesn't have to walk very far. He was in at punter, and then he walks up about 20 yards, and he's in at safety.
Economies of scale.
Well, that was a good punt. I'm very impressed. You don't see a lot of a lot of punts that get down inside the 5. That's a good unit together.
I think punting is a part of the British game that doesn't get a lot of attention because of the lack of training time you get with players.
I think that's very common.
Yeah.
I think kicking and punting are some of the weak spots throughout the country.
You look at some of the, if you take, we played Sandwell Steelers last week, and they've got a really good punter, Greg Freeman.
Makes a big difference.
And I saw him here as well in your regular season game, and it made a massive difference to field position.
Really does. Well, here he is, Poindexter, backed up, taking the snap in his own end zone, but he gets a handoff there.
No, that's Johnny.
Well, Johnny got the handoff. Yeah. Poindexter was there. He took it from behind, took the snap from his own goal line.
It was noticeable the mud that came up with him then as well, wasn't it? You know, so it just shows you what the conditions are like.
Those nice jerseys you designed aren't going to be pretty for long.
Well,
hopefully
we've had 5 years out of them now, so
some industrial strength cleaning this week.
We probably need to.
That's a great run there by Johnny for the first down. You're backed up now. You know, you get a bit of breathing room. Exploded off the right side of the line, just off tackle. Let's go out here. There's one linebacker here trying to make a read. Tries to fill a gap, but they're going to the right side again for a gain of 5 yards. That's a keeper by Poindexter. I wonder if there's a competition between Johnny and Poindexter to see who can get the most yards in a game.
No, I can tell you there isn't. There's a lot of team ethic with the Vikings this year, particularly on offense. You know, they're all in it for each other, and there's no superstars.
Well, I think Poindexter, he might look like a superstar on a few of these plays with his athleticism, but if
he does, but if he doesn't
have the ego one, that's the beauty.
He doesn't act like one.
That's great to see.
Yeah.
Here's a handoff there, up the middle. Couldn't get the blocking. There's really nowhere to go for him there, and a gang tackle by that flock of Falcons that we're talking about, helping up the different players in that pile. Looks like a few of them are a bit tied together. Someone had to do a somersault out of it. That's your man, Paul Richardson. He had to do a bit of a gymnastics roll to get out of that pile. This could be a timeout here. Looks like the signal. Timeout.
That is a 2-minute warning. There are 2 minutes left in the half.
That's a quick first half.
I was just going to say that. Is it my imagination, or was that a quick half?
Well, I think we've seen a lot of running in this rainy game.
Yeah, true.
A lot of the completions have been, shorter completions or right near the edge of the field, and then they jog upfield. Not quite in a hurry up, but they're not exactly lollygagging between plays, so even if it's a completion out of bounds, they run it pretty quickly after that. We'll see what they can go ahead and do here. Poindexter hands it off. Johnny goes off to left this time. Gains a few yards for a first down and is brought down by 2 or 3 Falcons. They're getting up. And you can see those white Falcons jerseys getting progressively darker and darker throughout this game, especially among their defenses. They try to bring people down. Be interesting to see if the Vikings use any timeouts here, if they get a first down or two. If they get maybe to the midfield, they might go ahead and use a timeout, I'd think. Other than that, you don't want to risk it.
They won't want to go into half-time behind unless they have to.
It looks like could be a keep here by Poindexter, but he just before he crossed the line of scrimmage, tries to make a connection to Richardson, but it's just off of his fingertips and bounces out of bounds. While we have a bit of break here, I do want to again mention our sponsors and thank them here. First up, primary sponsor of the day, EHL Commercial Law. they get the deal done, not at any cost. Sometimes their advice may be that it's not the right deal. But if it is the right deal, they'll get it done without wasting any time, only focusing on the key points of commercial law. Additionally, sponsors for today's game include Walkabout, Carrington Arms, Plucked, and DCI Art Form Retail Redefined. Here we go here. Under 2 minutes left in the first half. Poindexter with his running mate Johnny here. Does a fake handoff there. Beautiful option.
It's wide
complete
open
to Paul Richardson there. I would say that was almost too good of a fake handoff. I almost saw the ball go into the running back's hands, but stuck with Poindexter in a brilliant completion over there. Now they're over that midfield line, and they're going to consider
There's a play
this
there that if that had been Deera or Jacob, that would have been a touchdown. No disrespect to Paul, but, you know, he's just not that fast.
Well, people, you know what? Different shapes and sizes, mate.
Yep.
Different strokes for different folks.
Absolutely.
And now we do see a timeout. Let's see if that's from the Vikings.
Yep.
As I said, you get past midfield, you say maybe we can get a touchdown or at least a field goal before the half. See what we can do here. You got athletes on the field like that. See if you can get one. Falcons defense huddled together, trying to make sure that they don't allow any points before the half.
Timeout. Northumberland. 1 minute, 16 seconds left in the half.
Here we go. This final drive, most likely of the half. 1st and 10 at the 40. Well, it's a bit odd. It's a 90-yard pitch, so I'm not sure if I'd call it the 42 or the 47.
It's the 42. You've only got 42 yards to go.
I
so
suppose.
It's got to be the 42.
3 yards from the 50, but it's the 42.
Yeah.
The pitch, it looks like it's holding up okay considering these awful conditions for weather-wise. It is a noticeably different color than the first half, and you're starting to see some mud patches where maybe drainage is, obviously it varies a little bit between different spots of the field. Here's Poindexter with Johnny out to his right, 2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Motions out, has a lot of time, loaded time. 25 is wide open. Yes, makes a catch right there at the 5-yard line. Falling back as he makes the catch is Josh Penny. I wouldn't be surprised to see them run this clock down a bit, and then maybe do a run play, get a timeout here, or maybe a quick pass to stop the clock.
There was an example of my lack of bias. I do apologise.
I noticed, but I'll cover for you here.
Northumberland. Second charge timeout.
That timeout
1 minute,
again.
9 seconds left in the half.
Falcons have to make a stop here if they want to keep this momentum going into the half. During this timeout, I want to expound a bit on some of our other sponsors, give them some a bit more of the readouts as good. Walkabouts, they're open 7 days a week, serving up delicious food inspired by their mates in Oz, screening all the must-see spots on their screening all the must-see sport on their HD TVs and hosting the biggest parties in Leicester. So that is Walkabout. We'll give you more expansions on all the other sponsors throughout the day. But today, it's a good game so far. What do you think as we go into the half? We're going to wind down soon.
I mean, it's low scoring, but I mean, that doesn't make it a poor game.
It's not low scoring because of poor performance either.
No.
It's good defenses, it's
Absolutely.
hard fighting,
Absolutely.
and to be honest, it's a bit of a lack of a kicking game from either team so far. We've only seen 1 punt, so we've seen a lot of turnover on downs between the 20 and 35-yard lines.
I think any game that's open and, either team can still win is a good game.
We've got a new running back in here. That's number 3, Scott Kersey. He looks like a big bruising lad. Let's see what he can do.
He'll be there for blocking purposes only.
Let's see if he can block for Johnny here. And it is a shovel pass, but it's fumbled. That's not what you want to see there.
But again, that's
a lack of experience.
That's a play that's just been put in this week. I mean, Scott, number 3, is normally a defensive lineman, and he's filling a gap there to run a play that's only been practiced this week. So
I also think on a rainy day like this.
Yeah, you're going to get some occasions that those don't work.
Well, they're going to run out of time soon unless they get a playoff here. They got to make either a completion for a touchdown or get an incomplete pass and stop the clock. There you go. So now it's going to be 3rd down and about 12 with 2 chances to score.
Maybe it was a deliberate play just to waste some time.
Could be. I mean, it was a pretty quick throw to the dirt. I think you're being wise there. Again, going back to that handoff, it was a bit of a flip. It wasn't a direct handoff. Bit of a flip, and in this rain, that could have been a factor as well.
Yeah.
And if it's a new play for the offense, obviously that can be a factor. but that's not what you see inside the red zone. You march down the field on that brilliant throw, and you go backwards instead of forwards. Now they got probably 2 tries before the end of the half.
If you look at the way the Vikings have played all season inside the end zone, it's been run, run, and run.
Well, it's hard to run when there's this little time left. Maybe they'll run on 4th down if they get close, because then it doesn't really matter time-wise. We'll see what happens here. 25 made the big reception here. That's Josh Penny. Let's see if he can do something. Poindexter makes a completion and gets out of bounds just to short it, to make it about 4th and goal from the 5.
That was Connor Joyce with the reception.
That's a good play design there. That rolling out to the right, I think, is Poindexter's strength. It gets him on the move. It makes the defense have to stay honest, because the defense has to sit there and watch out for that run. And then he can focus on 1 or 2 receivers on a high-low pattern. You're going to hear the fans here getting pumped up. This is a big play, the biggest play of the game so far, 4th and goal.
I'm going to apologise in advance for my behaviour if we score here.
Maybe we'll cut his mic before he says anything. 2 receivers split out to the left, 1 back off to Poindexter's left. Drops back. It is a QB keep. He's not going to get it. A gigantic stop there. And again, with the vantage point that we have, I think you could have seen before that play happened. If someone told you he's going to keep it and go to his right, you say that's not going to work. But when you draw up the play and then you see it from perspective, it's a bit different than when you're on that field. I think there were just too many guys in the way. He wasn't going to make that play.
Well, the other thing as well is, we've run that play many, many times this year, but we're running it today against better players.
Yeah, those gaps are a bit smaller now.
Yeah.
The Falcons are no team to shy away from trying to score with 10 seconds left on the half. So I wouldn't be shocked, but they also have a good running game. So you might just see them take them into the half here with a couple runs.
I would go with your first one there. I think they'll try it.
I think they might at least throw it down
once. Nothing to lose, have you?
Yeah, well, it's unless you're really afraid of an interception, which, to be fair, the Vikings are good at.
Yeah.
I think we might see one, but based on this formation, they're in a power I formation. It's probably going to be a handoff for O'Neal. It is O'Neal down there. Just going to take this into the half.
Okay.
So a bit of a conservative play there, but in a close game like this, maybe they're just protecting themselves from any mistake, making an adjustment going in there.
Yeah, in hindsight, it's a safe thing to do, isn't it?
Safe play.
You're in lead. Why risk anything going wrong?
So that is a score of 7-0 at the half, with the Leicester Falcons taking the lead. It's a close game. It's anyone's game, really. I think most people would expect to have to score more than 1 touchdown to win a game. So I would say that both teams have something to build off of here. What do you think?
Yeah, I think if you'd have asked the Vikings, would they take 7-0 at half-time, I think the answer would be yes. We've won some close games. We've been behind in games before and come back and won. We were down by 2 against Lancashire. We were down by 2 against Sandwell. 1 against Sandwell. So yeah, you can only ask to be in the game at halftime.
And I think the Falcons. I certainly don't think you'll ever be disappointed winning, but I think they probably expected a bit more on the board so far.
Yeah.
But as we've said, it's not a lack of scoring due to poor performance. Mostly defense. Smaller gaps and 2 really good teams. Yeah. So we're going to sign off here for halftime. So I'm Sean Endicott, and this is Mitch.
Mick,
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Sorry, Mick.
I've been called worse.
I'm learning. Maybe put your name on the roster. I'll get it right. All right. Mick and Sean signing off here. We'll see you for the second half. Welcome back to the second half of this matchup between the Leicester Falcons and the Northumberland Vikings. Here we are again. I am Sean Endicott, commentating here for Onside Productions, and our special guest today is here.
Mick Tyler.
Mick Tyler, and he's here, usually helps out with Vikings TV, right?
Yeah, I generally do the commentary on our home game days.
So today helping out here, obviously he's got expertise here with the Vikings, and Onside Productions is running simultaneous broadcasts, so you can also check out the Brit Bowl under 19s plate final today as well. And then you have me here from Onside.
I think just coming in there, Sean, that's a tremendous achievement. You know, not only have we got one live stream game today, we've got two.
It is great to see that. And actually this year, BAFA, obviously this is a BAFA game, but this isn't a final or anything.
Yep.
But they have had Onside Productions do every game, every final. So men's premiership, women's tournament coming up here. Then we have men's Division 1, under 19 plate, under 19 national, under 17 plate, under 17 national. Great to see BAFA supporting us here at Onside Productions, and great to see the Leicester Falcons supporting us here. Obviously having us here covering this playoff game. It's great.
I think other teams have got to start to understand that it's about getting bums on seats and getting supporters to watch the game, whether it's locally in the stadium or whether it's anywhere around the world on live stream. You know, it's a way of promoting the British game.
You heard it here first, folks. We need more people streaming games. Give us a call. Give Steve Matthews a bit of a contact there, Tom Howe. Give them a contact there. Anyway, back to the game here. We got Poindexter in here on first down, hands it off to Johnny to his right. Johnny jumps over a defender and pushes forward ahead for a gain of 9 yards, a big gain of 9 there. Interesting to see how people make adjustments at the half. It's not that long of a halftime here in Brit Bowl, and then in addition to that, you don't have the benefit of replay and film and photos and stuff. It's mostly, what are you seeing? What am I seeing? What can we do different? What worked in the first half? What can we do differently? Be interesting to see if they make any adjustments or if they kind of stick with what they've been doing. It's still a close game, so you don't need to make too many dramatic changes, maybe. I
don't think we'll see too many changes on the Vikings side particularly, but I was talking with coaches at half-time, and they're reasonably pleased with the game situation. They were disappointed they didn't score when they went up to the fourth down play with however many seconds it was.
Johnny gets the first down there, pushing ahead there. He's not a big back.
No,
but he has got a lot of fight in him.
Yeah, he's very, very tough though. He gets most of his yards up the middle. Although today you've seen him more go to the side.
He's got the speed, but he's not afraid to run between the tackles, which is great to see in a back. Now that Leicester Falcons defense there, they have a very interesting front. So they have four people on the line, but only 3 are down. So you have 3 down linemen and then 1 stood up end in a 2-point stance. Oh, that is quite the hit by Taylor Brown. He did lead with the shoulder. I don't think it was dirty or anything, but he stopped that Vikings player immediately. It looked like the Viking ran into a brick wall, but did gain 6 yards on that first down there. So now it's 2nd and 4. It's
a contact sport, Sean.
Yeah, it happens. It's just amazing when you see somebody, they're running, and then they're not. There was no process. It's just momentum has stopped. 2 receivers split out on the near side here on the bottom of your screen. 1 goes into motion. That's Paul Richardson moving from down to bottom or down to top on your screen. And hand it off. No, it's a fake to the quarterback. Poindexter there bursts with some speed, gets that first down for a gain of about 9 yards, moving inside there to the 35.
Again, the difference there when you're playing against a good defense, we've seen him make that play many, many times this season, usually for a touchdown.
Well, as we said earlier, those gaps get a bit smaller and the recovery time's a bit better.
Yep.
I wouldn't be surprised to see as the conditions, I don't know how much worse they'll get in terms of more rain, but more wear and tear, because I think the rain is either stopped or slowed.
I went over to the Viking side at half-time, and they were noticeable on the pitch. There was a couple of little puddle areas, particularly in the middle.
Yeah, you can see right at midfield.
Yeah.
You can see a big puddle there.
Yeah. But it has stopped raining, I think.
So the rain has stopped, but you'll see more wear and tear as the Falcons push back Johnny to stop forward progress for a gain of about 2. I think what you might see happen is you might see 1 or 2 big plays on offense where a defender goes to break down, buzz their feet, they go to make a tackle, and then they can't quite cut the way they expect to. I was watching warm-ups at the beginning of this game, and even in drills, just shuffling left and right. They had to stutter their feet just a bit more to change direction. I wouldn't be surprised to see a run break it for longer because of these conditions. Two receivers, or one in motion from bottom to top there. Poindexter keeps it himself. He's got a bit of a blocker, but a nice ankle tackle there by number 5 for the Falcons. That's Bill Hefford making the tackle there. Gains a couple more yards to push it down to 3rd and 6. But as we saw in the first half, this is likely 2-down territory, isn't it?
Yeah, I think we can safely.
Or 4 downs, 2 more downs.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see if they actually turn the lights on here. It's really quite cloudy. Where I think visibility has actually gotten slightly worse here in the second half. Chance of defense from the Falcons faithful. 3 down linemen, 2 linebackers close to the line of scrimmage in the box, 1 rush defensive end. Poindexter goes out to his right, lowers his shoulder to push ahead, but only gains about a yard, if not nothing, on that play there on 3rd down, forcing a 4th and about 6.
Yeah, I think they saw that fairly early, didn't they? There was 3 or 4 with him.
Good identification there by the Falcons defense. Hard to move the ball, especially on a day like today. You see number 1 there. He's a big defensive back. You look Charlie Whitaker there, taking his helmet. Oh, I'm sorry. No, that is my roster's wrong. I apologize.
Gums.
Looks like W. Gums.
Yeah.
There.
Timeout. Northumberland. 10:22 left in the 3rd quarter.
Northumberland calling a timeout there to regroup, gather the troops, get maybe some water out there, and see if they can design a play here to get a conversion. So as I said, the defensive back for the Falcons, they're not small people, especially Gums out there. You get a bit of a bigger body there, they can come up in the run game and make those plays from sideline to sideline.
I remember my mother used to say to me, the bigger they are, the harder they fall.
Well, speaking of bigger, do you know who's someone who might fall really hard? Number 74. Look at that offensive lineman there.
That's Connor Rimington.
The Vikings. He's a mammoth of a man.
He's a big lad. He's been around football for a few years now. He's at he's at Leeds University now. He was at Stirling previously to that. But I've seen him since he was about 15, and at 15 he was twice the size of everybody else.
Well, he's about twice the size of some of these defenders now. Yeah. Let's see if they can get something here on the right side where he's going to be leading the way. Oh, they've brought in what I would call a heavy set. There are some big boys on the right side of the line now. I think they got about 6 or 7 on that, either on the line or just off it. And he keeps it to his right, and he gets that blocking. Poindexter bursts through the hole.
He's got it, I think.
There's a heavy hit on him, but he did get a first down, I believe. You know what? That's good football there. You go ahead and you look and you say, we've lined up with 7 people on the right side of the line. They're all ready to block you down, and we're going to run it down your throat. And then they did.
Artillery there, wasn't there? Yeah, they're bringing another one in now as well.
Oh, there you
Number
go.
3.
That's great to see. I love it. I'm biased because I played on an offensive line, but I love when you just power through somebody and you just say, this is where we're going, try to stop us, and you gain that many yards. That's great to see. Let's see if they can keep up the momentum here, or if the Falcons can make a stop as we approach the red zone here, just outside of it at the 21-yard line. It's a direct Wildcat snap. Oh, that would have been fun to see. I don't know if you can do that 2 plays in a row. Looks like there might have been a false start here. Paul Richardson took that as a direct snap. Looked like he was going to run it to his right. We'll see if they do that again, or if they switch back to a more traditional set. What do you think?
I don't think they'll try it again.
I think maybe with a trick play like that.
The element of surprise is now gone, hasn't it?
Well, you know what? It's a bit surprising if you did the same thing twice, I guess.
True.
But Poindexter runs back in here. I don't know if he...
False start. 69 offense. 5 yards. It remains first down.
I'm not sure if they did that by necessity. Poindexter did get hit pretty hard. Maybe he just needed a second to catch his breath on that play. Obviously, he got a big first down. But he was hit at the end of it pretty hard. Maybe just... or maybe just they wanted to try something different. See what happens here. They do not have a wildcat formation, and so Poindexter is back in at quarterback. The referees seem to be discussing something here. I don't know if it's about the clock or... I don't think it's about the ball placement. They've already moved the ball after the flag. See what they do here. Looks like the head referee's doing something here right towards where the ball is. Poindexter's out. Poindexter has switched out of the game. I don't know if the Falcons noticed that yet, but he is gone. He's back on the sideline there. There is a coach talking to number 1 Paul Richardson, who was the one that took the Wildcat last snap. They don't have a quarterback in the game right now, so we'll see what happens.
Well, that's Coach Rooney, who's the offensive coordinator.
Does he specialize in trick plays?
He specialises in all plays. He's the Durham head coach as well, so he's already won a national championship with some of these lads.
Well,
so,
I think they're sticking with what I said. It's surprising to try the same exact thing twice in a row. Let's see if he runs with it, though, or maybe he's got an arm. You never know. You get a snap to Paul Richardson. He hands it off, and he gets eaten up. That's an excellent play. Who is that? Number 16 for the Leicester Falcons. Oh, I'm going to butcher this name, and I apologize. Edifemi Aina. I'm going to do my best.
I'm glad you got that one.
I genuinely do apologize.
I'll call the offensive players, okay?
That's a great play. Sniff that out immediately. You probably, I don't know what the plan was there. Poindexter's back in now. Maybe you're trying to catch him off guard. You put in your big burling guy for a direct snap.
Yeah.
The defense assumes you're going up the gut, and then you try that little handoff. Didn't work out there, so now we got a long second down. I'd say second down at about 20 for this Vikings offense. Poindexter back in now with 2 receivers out to his left. Motion by number 21. Could be this option again, but he elects to keep it for a pass. Throws it downfield. No, not going to get there.
Miscommunication there. There's no receiver near that one.
I do think this Vikings offense has been hampered quite a bit by missing those star receivers.
Very much so. I mean, you know, we've been concerned all week, if we're honest, that our 3, if you look at the stats, our 3 receivers that have received most of the 80% of both the scores and the yards. That's Jacob Shotton, Dira Ejibert, and Frank Breyer are all out of this game. So, it is a concern, but they've adapted and they've changed some plays, and we've got people stepping up from defense like Connor Joyce, Josh Penny.
Let's see. We've seen them go to Penny in the past. Let's see if they get Penny here.
Penny played wide receiver a couple of years back, so he's not unknown to the position.
Great blocking there, but he's held on to it for a long time. That's a sack. Big man there, number 88 for the Leicester Falcons, Jamal Fredericks. And look at him saying that, I'm going to eat. And indeed, he did eat on that play. I think Poindexter held on to it a bit too long, personally.
Yeah, you can't block him forever, can you?
Nope. Obviously, you'd like to, but it's not reasonable. So, and I think
that's the punter that's just come on, so we're going to see the first punt from the Vikings.
First punt for the Vikings here. We saw a great punt by the Falcons earlier down inside the 5. Now, I will say this. Talk about plays where the field could come into conditions. If Taylor Brown catches this, look for him to make a big play. Yeah. He is a dangerous...
Look where he's kicking from as well, from the puddle.
Yeah, he kicked that out of bounds. I think they properly scouted this one. They said, kick it in the 20. Don't let Taylor Brown breathe near it. Not a bad call, if you ask me. While they're changing sides of the field here, I want to expand a bit on some of our other sponsors that we talked about here. So we've broken through some of the details of the other ones earlier. Now we're going to go into Carrington Arms. The idyllic setting of this traditional country pub creates a warm and comfortable environment to their customers. The Carrington Arms is a free house and has a long history of serving an excellent range of beers, wines, and spirits. That's Carrington Arms. Thank you again for them sponsoring this team and the Leicester Falcons here. There's a handoff to Big Francis. Now, he let that ball out at the end there. He's got to be more careful. He had a fumble in the first half, and you could see right as he was getting tackled, before he hit the ground, he let that ball, I think, drift a bit away from him. Got to be careful with that. If we do have any viewers who are a bit new to Brit Ball here, this is a very big game. The winner of this gets promoted from Division 1 to the Premiership. And you get a bit of a different taste here with the defense. You mentioned earlier some of those Northumbria defenders come from a rugby background, so they tackle a little bit differently than some people are used to. Here's a handoff here, and that is to Gums, number 24, their bigger back. So to continue my thought there, so when it comes, hold them up, you know, you really form tackling here. When you're used to tackling without a helmet, you keep yourself a lot safer with your head, and then they try to force out those fumbles. Isn't that right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a different technique, and Dick particularly is a master of it. You know, but he's started to show the other lads now how it's done. Keep them on the feet and try and strip the ball.
You've seen that when you tackle correctly. Here's number 68 trying to get inside there real quick. Makes a good read on Francis, but Francis does bull ahead for that first down. You could see that defensive line was itching to try to jump those gaps as they had earlier, but he just couldn't quite get through this time. But yeah, I think when you have someone with strong tackling fundamentals, then you can have a first or second player come in and try to force that fumble. So France has to be extra careful with that, keeping that ball closer to the chest. Split back formation again here. You got Joe Brammer, hasn't thrown it in a while. Let's see if he's going to look for a pass here. Got two receivers out to his left. 68 showing again, but he gets blocked. Brammer has time, but he's rolling out to his left, pointing his receiver, trying to direct traffic. That's going to be an interception by the Vikings there.
Jerome Klein.
Great play by Jerome Klein, number 58. They read that well. Brammer, he just didn't get enough on it. If you're going to throw that pass, you need to throw it high, and you need to throw it where only the receiver can get it. Just threw it way too low to the ground. Let the defender make a play. That gives the ball to the Northumbria Vikings at the 42-yard line of Leicester. So that's a great play by the defense there. See if they can turn the momentum around.
I mean, Jerome's come on leaps and bounds this year. He played intermittently last 2 seasons because he's German and goes home in the summer. This season he's stayed along and he's played pretty much every game. And that's, I think, his 3rd or 4th interception.
Here you go.
That's certainly a game changer it could be.
Paul Richardson back with, he's back in the halfback spot there. Gets a dangerous cut block there. A deep pass. Lots of defenders in the area. I want to give that was a vicious cut block by number 1, Paul Richardson. Just flattened the guy. Got right on his knee on that cut block and gave just enough time for them to get that pass away. But there were 3 Falcons in the area and just couldn't make the completion.
Paul's a blood and guts type of player. He actually got ejected in the previous game against Sandwell for targeting, but we managed to appeal it and it was overturned. So
well, there you go. Now he's back in this game.
Absolutely, and you know he's an all or nothing guy, and you know, it's a game of inches sometimes, isn't it?
I got to tell you, on a play like that, it is a game of inches because if you hit the side of their knee, they might call you for a flag.
Yeah.
But when you hit them from the front, it's okay. So here we go. Johnny out to his left, bursts through there, gets that first down, just enough there. It was it was second and quite long, about 13, and he got exactly 13. He got just what he needed for that first down, bringing that inside the 35-yard line, just short of the 30 at the 31. Great run there by Johnny. He's really stepping up today. I think he's doing well in these elements.
He's a tough old boot.
Do you think he'd like being called an old boot? Maybe he's a tough young boot.
He knows I love him deep
Maybe a
down.
tough young boot.
Yeah, he's a tough young boot, yeah.
Well, let's see here. You got Poindexter set back there. Johnny out to his right in that pistol-like formation. 2 receivers on the short side. Johnny gets a big hole. That's excellent blocking. Drives ahead and pushes for another first down. The sidelines are asking for a flag there. I don't see any laundry on the field. I think Johnny got about 7 yards before contact on that. That's an excellent set of blocking from the left side of the line there. It's really good there. And then he pushed ahead to make sure it was a first down.
Okay, so we've seen pretty much the same play there. 2 plays running. You know, both getting a first down. Did we just do the same again?
I think you might. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, I suppose. But I wouldn't be surprised for them to show the same look and then switch to an option.
You got a different back.
Got a different back, so you're definitely not doing the exact same play.
Timeout.
Timeout by the Falcons. It looks like the Falcons are trying to collect themselves here and make sure that they do not let the Vikings tie this game up.
Timeout. Leicester, 3:38 left in the third quarter.
That's a very loud timeout announcement by the referee, but very informative. It is indeed a timeout by Leicester. I think with here, it's not going to be a high-scoring game unless there's any dramatic changes. So if you stop them here, if you're Leicester, that might be the difference between a win and a loss. If you're the Vikings,
I think psychologically, I think Vikings need to score here.
I think it'd be a big one for them.
Yeah, I think if they don't score here again, it's going to be a little bit disheartening. They were in the position just before half-time where they were close, but no cigar. So I think they've got to go and score here.
What we haven't seen in this half as much is that option-style multi-attack from the same look. And now they have a 1st and 10 at the 15-yard line. And I think you might see them go back to that. A little bit of motion, a little bit of trickery with how your hands place, where you're going to hand the ball off to. You got a lot of athletes in that backfield right now. Now, as you pointed out previously, they have switched to a different running back. That's number 24.
Do you want to try that one? Or shall I do it for you?
Go ahead for me.
Tiga Diegbe.
That wasn't what I was going to say, so I'm glad you stepped up for me. Appreciate it.
No bother.
He does get handed. Oh, there you go. There was a hole. He didn't quite take it, but he burst to the outside and gets a gain of 5. There is a flag. There's a flag. It's in the area of the line of scrimmage. So it's in the box in the line of scrimmage. So we'll see what the referees call here. I thought, how did you pronounce his last name for me?
Diegbe.
Diegbe. I think he turned down a hole between the
He does have a tendency to go outside.
He bounced one more time than I think he should have done there.
Holding, number 1. 10 yards previous spot. Still first down.
That's Paul Richardson getting a little too physical, holding on to a defender there.
He'll take that, I think.
Seems to be taking it in stride. All right, here we go here. Paul now is over in at that H-back spot. There's a lot of beef on the line right now. Let's see if they run up the middle. They got quite a bit of men committed there. Only 2 receivers set out wide this play. That was an interesting handoff, but they do hand it. And he cuts it upfield. Continues downfield. Number 24, he's bursting through 3 defenders. They look like bowling pins.
I think Poindexter wanted to keep that.
I do think Poindexter wanted to keep it, and the running back said, no, that's all right.
No way. Yeah, I'm having that.
Sorry, mate. I'm taking this ball, and I'm going 10 yards down the field. But you know what? I don't think Poindexter's going to hate him too much because he gained quite a few yards.
No, I think that's fine.
2nd and about 7 now. Yeah, you could see Poindexter actually ran with his running back quite a bit, so that's obviously not
he does leave the decision right till the very last minute, which I suppose
healthy.
You want. Yeah, absolutely.
Except if you wait till after the very last moment. He kept it that time. That's quite the read. Bounces it inside, spins ahead for the... Looks like he just short of the first down, but we'll have to see with it. No, he said he spotted him at the first down. Oh, one of them pointed ahead, but now they've said it's 3rd. 3rd and a yard. I think they're getting a bit risky with these handoffs here. I think they're waiting a bit too long. It's a high risk, high reward, but I think you might see a mistake happen if they keep waiting this long to commit to who's keeping it between the running back and the quarterback. We'll see what happens here. Here's that beef formation here. Double stack, triple stack. You got 2 tight ends to the right. Running back right on the hip of Poindexter. But they were into the weak side here. Let's see. You knock it out. Oh, that's amazing. But it looks like there's a flag. I was going to say you're not going to outrun Taylor Brown. He did get away from Taylor Brown, but it looks like there's a flag. So we'll see if this gets called back. Brown's probably kicking himself for that, though. I'm sure he wanted the tackle for a loss. It's a flag right in the middle of the field there, right along the goal line. Let's see what the referee calls here.
Holding. 72 offense. 10 yards previous spot. Remains first down.
There isn't a 72 offense.
Well, I don't want the first thing I say about the offensive line by name to be a penalty, but it is William Abekwe, I believe. They've done a great job blocking on this drive, and I'm sure including him. You're not going to get that many runs without the O-line working as a unit. So I apologize, William, for the first time I'm saying your name to be a negative as an O-lineman myself, but on that particular play, he got a hold there. Assuming my roster is correct.
Yeah, my mistake. It is William. Yeah, he's been changing numbers this week.
Let's see what they can do here. 1st and 12 now. 1st and goal from the 12. Poindexter rolls out to his right. Bullets it into Paul Richardson. That's a quick pass, gains about 4 yards, brings it to the 8-yard line. That's one of the better passes of the day we've seen from Poindexter. By the way, great name. Gotta love it.
I don't know what the heritage of it's. He's from Florida originally, so I'm not sure if it's a Floridian name, is it? You probably know better than me.
I've never heard of Poindexter. Obviously, he's really smart. That's clearly what it means. That's a good throw, good run. I really like what they're doing with him when they have him roll out to the right and then they give him a high-low concept. I think they're going to have to go back to that here on the goal line if they want to succeed. Diagbiatu set to Poindexter's left as a running back. 2 receivers to the short side and 1 out wide in solo coverage. Motions there, hands it up the middle. Diagby cuts back again. Kind of zigzags up the middle, but he only gains 1 yard. Oh, there is a flag. And that seemed like the flag was after the whistle.
I think that's against Leicester.
Could be a late hit or a face mat. It came after the whistle, so I don't know for sure if the ref waited to throw it a bit. Sometimes they got, like a golfer, got a hitch and you're pulling out the flag, or if it was actually from a late hit. So we'll see what they call here. That could be a saving grace there for the Vikings, because it could give them a fresh set of downs if it's from their perspective, the right flag. Let's see what they call here.
After the play, dead ball, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 4. 15-yard penalty for a dead ball spot.
That's the exact opposite of what the Vikings want in this spot. They gladly would have taken unnecessary roughness from the Falcons, but it was on themselves, number 4 there. So now, not only do you not get a fresh set of downs like if it was on the other team, you're now backing yourself out of the red zone, outside the 20-yard line, all the way back to the 21, and they still have to get a touchdown. 3rd down. 3rd down and a long 21. Let's see if they just try to get some yards here instead of going deep into the end zone. Throws it. He had some room to run. Poindexter went out for a short bubble route to the receiver. Just couldn't get it there. It was too low. Hit his hands by his feet. Now it's 4th down. Earlier I would have said if it was inside the 10, I would have said go for the field goal to bring it in, a bit closer. But now you're too far away. You got to go for the touchdown.
A field goal doesn't do anything either, does it?
Well, if you can manage to score again later, you win instead of tying it. But I don't think he can go for that now. And here is Poindexter speaking to his offense coordinator and jogging out to the middle of the field. That Leicester Falcons defense is trying to rev up this crowd. A great chance to point out that there are quite a few supporters here at Leicester Road Stadium. By no means a sold-out crowd. There are a couple empty seats here, but you can hear some noise as you hear the defense trying to pump people up.
I think it makes such a difference, Sean, when the people here cheering you on. It makes it into a proper spectacle.
2 set out to the left, including Paul Richardson. 21 goes in motion. Poindexter drops back, doesn't have the time that he needs, but it is
Connor
tipped.
Joyce with the reception.
Joyce gets it, but as it is 4th down, he's just not going to get there. That was a bit of a lucky break. Ball was it probably took too many stops along the way to get there, but he just 5 yards short of that goal line, maybe 8 yards short of that goal line, really. Tough break for the Vikings there. They're really looking to gain some momentum after that interception led to a shortened field. They managed to gain 45 yards at one point, but they just could not convert it and punch it into the end zone. There are the Leicester Falcons. Swain's the last one to enter the huddle there. Well, I actually don't know how senior he is to them in age, but in terms of experience, the senior statesman, Swain, 66, lining up there at the left guard spot. Let's see what the plan is here for those Leicester Falcons. With 2 split backs, they put a man in motion from top to bottom. Hands it off to Gums. Looks like they're going to call a false start here. Flag on the play, and as the play was stopped before it started, I'm going to guess that it's a false start. Some great action going around Brit Ball lately. We had the under-19 national final yesterday, Mick. It was Manchester versus the...
False start.
Oh, here's the ref.
Number 7 offense. Half distance to the goal. 1st down.
Was indeed a false start. He was probably in motion. I think he turned upfield a bit too early. So great Brit Ball going on right now. Brit Ball 32 underway with the national junior final going on yesterday. The London Blitz won their 6th out of the last 8 junior championships. That's a dominant program there against the Manchester Titans, who are wonderful as well. We have many other games coming up both today and as well as the next few weeks here. And I think both of these teams are anxious to take part in that and try to close out a win here. 68 trying to get through there again, doesn't quite get it. Francis cuts back, going to bull his way down, gain just a few yards there with a little bit of extra push, and push it back to the original line of scrimmage to make it a 2nd and 10.
Just going back to you talking about junior football there, Sean, I think it's a bit of a bugbear of mine. You know, anyone that knows me will tell you that there's not enough of it in the UK, and you know we need to get more teams playing junior football.
I agree. I'm a juniors coach myself, and it's a great level. The players are anxious and coachable, and when you see a program run correctly, it makes a really big difference.
Yeah. But you know, it's just common sense to me that programs at the top level, if you mentioned the Blitz there, they've won 6 of the last 8, and you know it's no coincidence that they're always at the top level in the Premier League. Manchester, you mentioned as well. They've got a good junior program, and again, that's paid dividends for them because they've managed to go into the Premier League in the last couple of years, and it can't just be a coincidence.
No, it's not a coincidence, and I think you'll see more and more programs put that emphasis on the youth and junior. Earlier, we covered the youth, both the final and the plate final a couple weeks ago, and that was great to see those under-17s as well. Unique game. If you haven't seen that, it's 5-a-side American football where the linemen can catch passes, which to me, that's just wonderful. I wish they did that more. But in any event,
I think you might just be out of eligibility on that one, Sean.
I think I'm a bit old for that. I did shave today, but I don't quite look young enough to participate in that, and I certainly couldn't do it honestly anyway. But you have under 17s doing well, great programs there. Some squads even have multiple youth teams, junior teams as well. And then now here in Brit Ball, it's great to see this level of football. Last year's Brit Ball final with the Tamworth Phoenix winning it there was an excellent game in the Premiership. And then these teams are trying to compete for a spot to compete with teams like Tamworth up here if you're in the north. And then obviously a lot of those London teams in the Premiership down in the south.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens here. So I think there was a bit of a face cage possibly missed there. I had a really good vantage point on that. The running back's head jerked quite a bit, but he gains about a yard by Ogundana. Gained just about a yard. They're getting the punt team ready here on the Falcons sideline as it is 3rd and about 7. 3rd and about 7 from their own 9-yard line.
This is where the Falcons have been doing well, though. On the 3rd downs, they've been converted a number, haven't they? I can't remember one they didn't do. I think they've only punted once, was it?
They only have one punt, so they've either converted it on 3rd or gone for it on 4th. Obviously, I don't think that second one's an option in this case, but we'll see what they do here. I'm very interested to see if they're going to try to get the ball to their receivers. They have a lot of single coverage across the board because they have so many people in the box, but they do go for a run. Francis tries to bounce it outside. Stiff arms his way. Tries to get a block,
That's
but
Tom Stewart coming out the backfield there.
Couldn't quite get the blocks there. Number 7, the wide receiver there, Jared Gabadon, just couldn't quite seal the edge. And so Francis had to just keep going out and out and out. Gained 3 yards, but that's not enough for the first down. So they're going to bring out the punt team here.
So Vikings defense holding them, which is good.
Well, good for the Vikings. Good for keeping it close. I always root for a good game. Let's see what goes on here. Now, the last time we saw Taylor Brown punted, it was a line drive punt, but it went inside the 5. Here, if you do a line drive punt, I think it'd be a bit too dangerous because that player's getting in his 30.
Too far back, isn't he, in his own area.
You really got to do something here that's a better punt. So let's see what Brown can do. It's a higher punt. Good kick. It's going to get that friendly Leicester bounce, and it's going to go inside the 20, and it's going to keep rolling inside the 15.
That is a great punt.
I think
a great punt.
To the 11. I'm fairly certain that is a, well, let's see, you do have to remember you're cutting out a few yards here, but 25, 50, that's a 55-yard punt from the line of scrimmage to where it ended up. Punters always get a little shortchanged. When you kick a field goal, they count your yardage from where you kicked it.
Yeah.
But when you're a punter, they count it from the line of scrimmage instead of where you kicked it from. Right. That ball went about 70 to 80 yards. If you count from where it went from Brown's foot at his own 5 or 10 to where it
didn't want to risk it. Yeah, absolutely.
Let's see what the Vikings can do here. Last time they started around the 50 and managed to gain about 35, 40 yards before they faltered on that 4th down and had some penalties draw them back. Let's see if they can get a drive going here and get some of the time off the clock and see if they can get a score.
So we've got a new receiver out to the left for the Vikings, number 28, which is the kicker, Matty Carter.
Always fun to see kickers doing more than just kick. But
Well,
in this case,
he's a DB that kicks, to be fair.
There you go.
He's not a kicker.
well, they go to Johnny here, and he gets a run to the right side here, and he gets 12 yards there. That's a great run by the running back there. I think he's probably approaching or over 100 yards on the game so far. It's been really nice to see solid running by him.
He's very reliable, very reliable.
Do you have his averages or any stats from
Well,
throughout the season?
he's got 430 yards in 9 regular season games, which isn't loads, but I think
they've relied on him more
those
today.
were blocking or being part of the Poindexter rushes as well. There's a new running back in, which is Dan Sibbald.
Dan Sibbald goes up there, but he didn't really have anywhere to go. But he makes, I won't say a lot, but he makes something out of nothing. He was hit at the line of scrimmage, gained 3 yards.
Interesting story, this kid. He turned up to training in October, been watching the NFL on the settee, wanted to have a go, and he worked all through the off-season, listened to what the coaches told him, and whilst he's number 3 running back, he's had some game time.
Well, there you go. Always good to have depth as well, because you never know what's going to happen. Players do get tired throughout the game as well.
Yeah.
And you know what? In a year or 2 or 3, he could work his way up the depth chart as people move to different positions or move on to different things in life.
Also, if you're sat at home now on the settee watching this and you want to have a go, don't be afraid. It is possible to start.
There he is again. Gets about a yard on there. He's running with a lot of anger, but he's not getting the blocking. That's the thing. You need that burst through the hole, but you need a hole to be there. I completely agree with you. Back to your point, you say, if anyone does want to try the sport, well, there's a range of talent on every pitch. And obviously some of these are tremendous athletes, and they know the game. Everybody starts somewhere. And there are players on this pitch who haven't played the game for that long that work their way into the rotation on both sides of this field and are doing a good job.
Yeah, well, Dan's an example. I mean, 12 months ago today, he never set foot on a football field.
There you go, and now he's playing in a game trying to help his team earn a spot in the Premiership of American football here in the UK. Here we go, blitz coming in from number 44, but they run against that side. Poindexter gets the first down for a run of about 10 yards. That's a great play call there, runs to the right side. There was pressure coming in from the left. 44 burst through the line for the Vikings, but Poindexter wasn't there by the time he got to where that snap was. You have to wonder how much fatigue is going to start setting into this game as well for some of these defenses that have been on the field so much.
Yeah. I don't know what the time of possession is, but it appears that the Vikings have been on the ball more.
They've been on the field quite a bit. Here's your guy here.
He just lacks that last block, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think Danny, though, if you look, it went from line of scrimmage. We said he needed to get the blocks. Well, now he gained 7 yards on a first down. I'm not going to complain about that if I'm a head coach, and I'm sure that they feel the same way over there on the Vikings sidelines. They've had 4 or 5 runs to him this drive, and they've just passed the 50. They started inside their own 10. Going to take that.
Yep.
So here he is again. They're not in a hurry-up offense by any means, but they're getting a little bit of pep in their step, making sure they get out the huddle a bit quicker with a bit more urgency.
I think I might pull him up on those boots, though. They are a bit bright, aren't they?
They are a bit bright. Helps me see and know which one's which, though. That's the real thing for me. Here's again a keep by Poindexter, juking his way, does a little bit of a head feint from right to left, drives his way, falling shoulder first, passed down to the 35-yard line for yet another first down. So as we said here, what were the goals? Step 1, get out of your own territory. Step 2, eat up some clock. Step 3, score. Well, they've got 2 out of 3. Let's see if they can close it out.
A tempting fate.
You want to flip that field. Let's go back, though, for a second to Taylor Brown. We haven't heard his name that much on defense today, though, to be fair, he hasn't really missed much. It's just that he hasn't been.
We've not been throwing it, I think.
Yeah, it hasn't been in his way. Yeah. But that punt, this is probably on a worse punt, on punts that you see a lot of the time, this is where the Vikings would have started a drive.
Yeah.
Because he punted it from near his own goal line, and they're just past midfield. Poindexter fakes the handoff, takes it up again, runs right up the middle and gains 4 or 5 yards on first down, brings it down inside the 30. Great to see this run by the Vikings here yet again. They're changing up which hold they're going for, making the Falcons guess. Timeout. Looks like it's a timeout for Leicester. If I'm the Falcons here, I'm trying to rally up the troops and make sure that we can get a stop or two here. At the moment, the Vikings, they started out only gaining 2 or 3 yards.
Timeout. 8:09 left in the game.
There you go. So not a ton of time left here. The Vikings, this isn't certain. I don't think it's going to be their last chance, but they need to score here if they want to win in regulation.
Yeah, I agree.
I think even if they scored later, then it would have to go into overtime. So I think if they want to win in regulation, they got to do it right now.
I'll take overtime.
Well, I'm sure they would.
I'm not too fussed.
Well, we've seen some dramatic games in Brit Bowl in the last few weeks. I believe, I think it was Manchester that had to get into the junior final, and they do a shootout style where you each start on their own yard line, and then so we've seen some close games like that. Obviously, we had a game last week. I believe it was your game.
It was our game, yeah.
So why don't you talk about that? How they ended up getting here for the Vikings?
Well, it was a game that went both ways. We were in the lead a number of times. Sandwell went in front a number of times, and in the end, it came down to Poindexter touchdown with 40 seconds left. At that point, there was a serious injury for a Steelers player, and there was a delay of about 45 minutes. And it was the longest 45 minutes of my life, to be honest. But, you know, after the play resumed, we managed to hold on and won by 1 point.
Well, there you go. Poindexter looking to get a little bit of magic for a second week in a row here. Let's see what he can do. Fakes the handoff. He's got a bit of a seam here. Closes very quickly there by number 35 of the Falcons, Emmanuel Matsikatori. And he makes a great play there. Look at that. He barely fit his name on the jersey. But he gets from sideline to sideline there, makes an excellent tackle. Poindexter does gain some yards, but I thought for a second he had a seam around the edge that he could have gone through. Great tackle there by the Falcons defense to force a 3rd and short. It's about 3rd and 2. Yeah, close game there for you guys last week. So when you're in a situation like this, you're down by 1 score. They've been here a bit before, even with players in new positions. They have just a little bit more experience than some teams would in this situation. Poindexter takes a snap, hands it up the middle there. A little bit of a hole, but that's enough for a first down. Great block in there by that offensive line.
I think the key word you mentioned there was experience. It's something that you can't buy. You can't. You can only be in that situation and in life. I mean, not just in football. And I think there are times where the Vikings have been in close games. We won 2 games earlier on in the season by a single point. And then we won a close game at Lancashire, the last regular season game, and last week was also a close game. So, you know, they won't panic. They'll...
No. To go back to Leicester here for a moment, they are winning this game. As much as the Vikings obviously are trying to close it out, the Falcons defense has done an excellent job all day in terms of limiting them just in time. Johnny goes up there for a run of about 5 yards. What the Falcons defense has done, it's a cliche, but it's accurate. It's bend but don't break.
Yeah.
And you know what? This is about the area that they've stopped bending and started forcing the offense to break on these other drives. There's just a little bit less room that your safety has to cover in the back so he can sneak up a bit more. Well, when you bring Taylor Brown involved in that run game, all of a sudden, those windows that you saw you could fit half a person through, maybe it's no one through now. And so the Falcons, while they haven't done a prolific scoring situation like we've seen in the past, they got enough on the board with some great solid play earlier, and their defense has bent but not broke, and this is the area that they specialize in. You can see their deepest player is only about 15 yards off the line of scrimmage, so we'll see what happens. Now it's 3rd and about 3. Looking at two more downs here. I do think it's 4 down territory here. You don't have enough time to kick a field goal. That doesn't get you much now.
I think the field goal's out of the equation now in this game.
Yeah, I think you need so I wouldn't be surprised to see again what they've gone for in the past. Poindexter rolling out one way. You have one receiver running about 5 yards deep, and then another one 10 to 15 yards deep. That's worked in the past. Let's see if they do it here. But based off this formation, they brought in some beef, so they might stick to the run. They do stick. Oh, there you go. You know, it's a shame. You can see it again from up here. That's a quick read by Poindexter. I think the play is designed to be a quick read based on what he did. I don't know their playbook. He threw it to Paul Richardson right away, hit him in the hand, didn't make the connection.
I think Connor Joyce was open as well.
Connor Joyce was indeed open. That's exactly what I was leading to. If the read calls for fake handoff, quick throw, you can't really blame a guy for not doing it. I don't know their playbook, but Connor Joyce certainly looked disappointed. He had his hand up, and he didn't get it.
Yeah.
This could be the play of the game for either the offense or the defense. 4th and 4. Poindexter back, motioning from right to left is Paul Richardson. Johnny set out to the right as a running back. One receiver on each side. Takes a snap. They go for a run on 4th down. He gets hit. He falls forward, and it's really going to depend on the spot. It is a first down. That is a great run. Is that Danny that got, or is it Johnny that got that one?
Was Johnny.
That was Johnny.
Yeah.
Johnny got hit, and then he spun in. And that's running backs, take note from that. He didn't, sometimes you truck a guy, and that's great. Looks really good on your highlight reel. Sometimes you get the contact, they've leaned their body against you. You just do a little bit of a roll. Their momentum stays one way, your momentum falls, you fall the right way. He gained just enough. They almost had to measure that one, I think. That was real close.
It was close, yeah.
First down here from the 15. Here's that rollout, high-low coverage there.
Connor Joyce is open.
Connor Joyce is open, but are they going to call that a completion? It is a touchdown by Connor Joyce. That's exactly what we said they would go to in the red zone here, that high-low concept, rolling out to his right, which seems to be his stronger side. Connor Joyce was falling backwards as he made that catch.
Important kick coming here.
Well, we did say that you said kicking, obviously they weren't going to go for a field goal, but you still got to convert this extra point.
Timeout, Northumberland. 5:07 left in a half.
Here's a question for you.
Yeah.
How confident are you with the kicker with these conditions?
Well,
are they going to go for 2?
Without the conditions, I mean, I can only judge Matty on what he's done all season, and he's been very, very consistent. He's only missed 2 or 3 extra points all year. So that's probably just give him the kiss of death.
Yeah, well, we'll see that. Like I said, this is a weird game when it comes to kicking. It's not raining now, so you might not slip your hands on the ball that way, but the ground is slippery, so if you put the ball down, it could end up wrong. The snap's coming off the ground. There's a lot of things that can go wrong here, and they've had a strong running game. So I think that's a debate you're having on the sideline.
Well, I think they realise how important this point is, but the fact that they've taken the time out on an extra point.
I think that's a big debate by the offense coordinator. You say, we just drove 90 yards.
So what's the chances of them going for 2 then?
I think it's at least 50-50. I mean, they're coming out here. They just drove 90 yards down the field and probably took about 6 to 8 minutes off the clock.
I can't see a kicker on the field.
I don't see a kicker on the field either. Well, what number is their kicker?
28's the kicker.
28's the kicker. I don't see one.
There's no kicker.
So it does seem like they're going for 2. What are they going to do here? I think you're going to see Poindexter in motion very quickly because that's what's worked for them in the past. 3 receivers out to the right. One's Paul Richardson, who I'm expecting in to make a big block.
The kicker is on the field, but he's out as a receiver.
Yes! It's a completion for 2 to number 4. Poindexter fakes the handoff, gets it to number 4. Say his name again for me.
Howard Snaith.
Howard Snaith, a big, burly man.
Howard is normally on the offensive line, but he's got an eligible number today because he's playing tight end.
I will tell you a secret. I think just about every offensive lineman in the world wants to play tight end. Every single one wants to play tight end because you get to do that. That's a great play design there. It's a player they hadn't gone to all day.
No.
You lined up with 3 receivers to the right, including a strong blocker in Paul Richardson. So the defense is probably thinking Poindexter's going to roll out to his right and do that high-low concept again. Instead, he went completely the other way to the left. What a great design.
Everybody thought Poindexter.
I was thinking
including me.
And you look at there and you say, well, that's why you said that's Durham's head coach is the offensive coordinator.
Durham's
here
head
for
coach,
the Vikings.
Jonathan Rooney, is the Vikings offensive coordinator.
I mean, what a brilliant play design by him.
Yeah.
The Falcons don't have a lot of time, but they get another chance here.
Down to the defense now.
Taylor Brown is going to get this, and he is a dangerous man. 1 man to beat, and he gets through him. 2 men to beat, and he gets around them. Brings it up to about the 38-yard line. With not much time left in this game, I wouldn't be surprised if the Leicester Falcons leave out a few particular athletes on the field. I wouldn't be shocked if Taylor Brown rotated in on offense during this drive.
Well, he's coming off at the moment.
I think they're going to rely heavily on Francis in at running back and leave him as an athlete.
5 minutes is plenty of time.
You say that, but with the running game, of the Vikings, you might only get one more drive if you're Leicester.
Yeah, but
they certainly don't need to run a hurry up or anything like that. But if they take 2 or 3 minutes to try to march down the field, they might not get the ball back. So they only need a field goal to take the lead, though. Timeout, Northumberland. Well, if you're a fan of good football games, this is what you want. It's 8-7.
Well,
promotion on the line.
Yeah, I mean, we've won 3 games by a single point this year, including last week's semi-final.
Well, I don't think this game's going to be decided by anything more than 6.
I would take your bet on that.
I think you're either going to go, you guys by 1, or if the Falcons come back, it's still going to be within a score.
Final timeout. Northumberland, 4:59 left in the game.
4:59 left on the clock. Glad to be here for Onside Productions. I think this is a great chance for us to show off Britball here in this Division 1 semifinal. Bremer hands it off to Francis, tries to get around the edge. He gets some blocking, a strong stiff arm, and he gets up there 10 yards down the field. Well, here you go, Plucked. You want a spot in one of the biggest moments of the entire season? You get it here. Plucked some wonderful wings. I'll go about it right now. Here's their state. They say here at Pluck, their mission is simple. They want to serve you the best plucking wings in town. Our wings are their wings are hand rubbed daily in the store with their unique blend of herbs and spices. Their chefs fry them until crispy and golden before tossing them in one of their signature sauces. So that's Plucked there. With 5 minutes left in the final, get some wings on your mind.
I'm glad you got to say that advert, not me.
There you go with Ogundana with some blocking to his left, and he explodes for a run with no one there to grab him. There's no flags on the field. Ogundana gets a 40-yard run, explodes down the left side of the field with excellent blocking there. What a play by Ogundana. He had enough for a first down thanks to blocking, and then he got enough for the lead thanks to his burst. What an outstanding play by the Leicester Falcons offense, and a statement here with under 5 minutes to play. A first down for 10 yards with Francis, and a touchdown for 40-plus yards from Ogundana. Here we go, going for 2, trying to make this a 7-point game are the Leicester Falcons. Split backs, 2 receivers out to the left. Hands off to his left, again to Ogundana, and he does get the edge. Number 58 missed the tackle there.
Yeah, it's far too weak, that defense, then, on both those plays.
Jerome Klein had an opportunity to make a tackle there to stop the conversion, could not do it. That extends it here, 15-8. 15-8 for the Leicester Falcons. While we go here, I'm going to give one more sponsor push because we're going to go through each read here. I got DCI Art Form, Retail Redefined. They create insight-driven retail solutions that build authentic connections between shoppers, retailers, and brands. With the clear focus on your desire, results in a steady pulse on what's ahead. They're ready to help your company navigate the retail space and win. So again, Walkabout, Carrington Arms, Plucked, DCI Art Form, and then our main sponsor for today, EHL, or EHL, depending on who you ask, Commercial Law. They're running a business to help your business. So thanks again to our sponsors, and now we can get down to the nitty-gritty. Under 5 minutes left, 7-point game. Vikings are going to get the ball again here. Kickoff, a high driving kick, lots of have time. Johnny doesn't quite get the blocks he needs to, but he drives it upfield past the 20. Better than a touchback, not as good as he wanted. 23-yard line for Johnny. Well, I said that the Vikings needed to score on the last drive to win, but I guess I should have. It's a good thing I didn't say if they scored they would win, because here they're going to have to do it again.
This game's not over yet. There's
of course
still
not.
4 minutes left.
Lots of time. There's enough time in the game. You don't have to only pass. You don't have to do hurry up. You just have to slowly get downfield, but make sure you don't have to punt. You get these conversions, you get first downs, you can do the running game, you can rely on Poindexter. 2 receivers out to the left. Bunch on the right, no one that far from the side of the line. Poindexter in with the orange-shoed flash in at running back. Poindexter's going to throw a sky ball, and that's just too far. That was almost caught by one of the coaches of the Falcons, but it was indeed out of bounds. You know, it's interesting here to see Danny in on this drive instead of Johnny, when Johnny did so well last drive. Yeah, I wonder if they'll switch him away.
Yeah.
I could see him with his orange shoes right there. He had good pass pro on the last play, don't get me wrong. I'm not insulting Danny at all. I'm just saying that Johnny had such a good drive. It'd be interesting to see how many plays he's off the field for. Here we go again, 2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left, 1 running back to Poindexter's left. A handoff there to Danny. He goes around the edge, gets about 4 yards, doesn't get out of bounds, so the clock's going to continue to run. It's going to be 3rd down and about 6. Third and about 6 for the Vikings. Now, let's see here. 28's jogging off the field.
Yeah, it's replaced by number 35, who's Jordan Chambers, who's just in his 2nd year.
The Viking
not had a lot of game time at receiver.
The Viking center, Ben Johnson, looks like he's got fire in him here, bouncing here. He's been doing well on the defensive line all game. Now he's here at center on 3rd and 6 for the Vikings. Great blocking there. Bit of pressure by 16. Poindexter going to throw it. Hit the ground in front of number 21, Connor Joyce. Poindexter, I think he was stuck between a rock and a hard place there. Couldn't quite decide if he wanted to run it or throw it. So he ended up throwing it while he was in full sprint, or full, maybe not full sprint, but full run. And he didn't plant his feet, and he was running forward, not just to the side.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if he could have made it with the run. I think he got caught in the middle ground.
I'm surprised they're going for it here, this far back in their own
4th
territory.
down from their own territory. Again, Johnny's not on the pitch. Poindexter in, heavy blitz. Poindexter throws it. Paul Richardson was there, but a pass defended by Leicester Falcons defensive back, number 25, Joel Gregor. Comes in there. Paul Richardson, well, obviously he wasn't open because the ball didn't get there, but he had beat one man, but another defender snuck up and made that play.
Yeah, I think he just ran out of the room, didn't he?
That's a tough pass to complete. Poindexter would have had to land it perfectly between 2 defenders, and maybe there just wasn't a gap there at all. Poor Richardson. He was right there, hands outstretched. He had the defensive back behind him instead of in front of him, but a second one swooped in, and Gregor made that play. So now the Falcons here, up by 7, at the 30-yard line, and I know these Falcons, they aren't going to rest on their laurels here. They're going to try to extend this lead. Francis there running up the middle. Only gets a yard. That was a low snap, a very dangerous low snap. Could have been a very different game if that snap had bounced just a little bit lower. An interesting scene on the Leicester sideline here. The defense huddled together around the water table. Players now getting ready to really focus. You have some in isolation, some huddled with their teammates. On the Vikings sideline, you see the same scene. Players kneeling, players in a group trying to get their heads focused on these last 3 or 4 minutes of the game. Joe Brammer comes in. 2 running backs, 1 on each side of him, 2 receivers out to his right. A lot of pressure from that defensive line. Ogundana manages to spin around, and he gets thrown to the ground by defensive tackle number
Eddie
72.
Giannini, but he missed him, and
Ryan Wilkins came in and made that tackle. Great play by him there.
Officials timeout. That is a 2-minute warning. There are 2 minutes left in this half.
No timeouts left for the Vikings. They used those all up earlier in the half. Well, if you're the Falcons here, what do? Do you run out the clock? run it one more time, run 40 more seconds off the clock, and then punt it? Or do you go for a pass to try to just kill this, put a nail in the coffin?
Well, if you're a conservative coach, you run out the clock. If you're not a conservative coach, you try and score.
I've never really known the Falcons to be conservative.
No,
That's not
it's
really
not
their
something
style.
you associate them with, is it?
That's not really their style. But you know what? We'll see. We'll see what they do here. They got two receivers out to the right.
It's been a really quick game. I've just checked my watch, and it's like 2 hours and a little bit. 2 hours, 10 minutes. A really fast game.
Here it is. They didn't go for the run. Brammer's got time. Got loads of time. Great blocks. Throws it downfield. It's going to get picked off by the Vikings.
The inevitable Connor Joyce interception.
Connor Joyce does get that pick. There are two advantages in this here. If you're the Vikings. One, obviously you get the ball. Two is they don't run 40 seconds off the clock. Because if the Falcons, it's the same length as a punt. I mean, the Vikings are now inside their own 10. Field position-wise, that's great. But they could have had 40 seconds left if the Falcons had run it up the gut and then punted it to the same spot.
I think that's a poor call by the Falcons coaching staff. They should have just run it out and not let the Vikings get back on the field.
Well, you know what's going to decide if that was a poor call or not? The next minute and 58 seconds.
Yeah.
I've seen there was a helmet thrown on the Falcons sideline. There was some people not very happy with that.
No, I think I wouldn't be very happy if I was.
Frustration's boiling there, but this is about 90 yards to go if you're the Vikings. So everything else in the world aside.
Delay a game against Vikings, I think.
I think you're right. Not going to lose many yards on that, but is there a runoff? Under 2 minutes, get a flag, but the clock is stopped, so never mind. Doesn't really cost them much. 5 yards.
Dead ball foul. Substitution infraction, 12 men on the field. The offense, half distance to the goal. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
Well, I'll help out the ref here. I think in this case, half the distance to the goal is a 5-yard penalty because they were at the 10. But they were at the 10 and maybe a few inches, so it's technically 5 yards instead of half.
Technically, he was right, wasn't he?
The best kind of correct.
Yeah.
Poindexter directing Paul Richardson to split to wide out rather than being in the slot. I'm going to look for some conservative safety play here by the Falcons. A low snap. Poindexter has a little bit of time, but no receivers to get it to. Stiff arms his way to just get out of bounds for 5. Okay. So here we go. Here we got just under 2 minutes left. The Falcons are doing a great job here on defense, just making sure they can force people to just make mistakes. There was no one to throw it to for Poindexter, even though he had all the time in the world.
That's probably because there's no receivers on the field. Not officially.
Not officially. I mean, like I said, they motioned.
You've got Connor Joyce this side, number 21's a DB. You've got number 35 the other side is also a DB. And
there's not a lot of height on that either.
No.
The defensive backs for the Falcons are pretty tall.
Well, we've got Johnny back in the backfield.
Let's see what happens here. That's a pass as well. Not going to get that there. He's asking for a hold. I don't think he's going to get that. Connor Joyce looking for the hold there on number 25. Can't get it. You know what? I hate to say this about the Vikings because they fought hard today. I don't think you can't take anything away from either of these teams.
No.
I think the situation they're in now, though, is very difficult for their style of play today. The way that they scored the last drive was a long, 6-minute drive, running it. And now they're forced to pass it because they only have a minute or two and no timeouts.
Yeah.
A great showing by both. What a good example of Brit ball here. You got big plays, good defense. A great time if one of the referees just would yell how many seconds are left. That would be wonderful. Because I don't know if it's 4 or 20.
I have no idea.
Here we go. Let's see.
It can't be long.
It certainly can't be long. They only started with about a minute and a half. But you know what? I think that flag that was a poor decision whether the Vikings score here or not. Because that would have been 4th down with the clock running. They would have had to run to the line and probably could have made a mistake because they're sprinting so much. Instead, you get 2 or 3 shots from inside the 20. Vikings offense coordinator sending in signals. Poindexter now rolling out to his left, chase from behind. Jump pass there, hits the floor. Went to Connor Joyce, but hit the ground. Any of these plays could be the last play of the game. Based on the fact that they haven't blown any whistles, we know we have at least one more try. You can feel the tension on the sideline here. Girlfriends and boyfriends holding hands so hard they might break. The fans pulling out their hair here on the sidelines.
This game should have been over about 5 minutes ago, really, shouldn't it? The Falcons defense should have just closed it down.
Well, we'll see what happens here. As I said before, it's all decided by what happens here. Paul Richardson motioning out to the left. Connor Joyce on the bottom of your screen. Johnny split to the left. Extra beef in for pass protection. Has the time. Throws it over there. Just out the outstretched hands of Paul Richardson. And again, the lack of whistles indicates to me that we're going to get one more chance.
Wow.
How are your nerves doing?
I'm still alive, I think. This is it. This is the whole season.
Make some noise for your defense.
Here's the Leicester Falcons fans you can hear probably through our microphones. Loud music, loud fans. The chant of defense, defense. Poindexter here with one last chance. He's done it before in the last minute of a game. Last second scores aren't foreign to him. Let's see what he can do here. Lots of pressure from his left. Gets a completion over the middle. No! Oh. That looks like it's going to be it, at least from the offense.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Some helmets have come off. I think the Vikings know this is over.
That was unfortunate. That was Matty Carter. He had a couple of goes at it. He's not played receiver all year. That's the first time they've been thrown to him.
And then a great... go ahead.
And you know, to not quite handle it. But, you know, good defense at the end of the day as well.
A great job by the Leicester Falcons defender to knock that loose. If you're a receiver and you bobble it, that's always the risk you take, not catching it on the first contact. Well, let me tell you what. It would have been fitting for Taylor Brown to finish this with an interception earlier that was just past his outstretched fingers. If you followed the Leicester Falcons throughout this season, there's probably actually nothing more fitting than their running game finishing this game for them. So let's see what they can do here. Are they going to kneel it? They look like they are.
Yeah,
they got the victory formation here for Joe Brammer. Stick around with us after the game. We're going to have some interviews with some coaches here. Get this kneel down here. Remember, there are no timeouts for the Vikings from Northumberland.
So Cameron will kneel this one out.
And that is the game. The water cooler has been poured on Guy Kiersey, and I believe Noel, head coach, and the club owner have gotten water poured on them. Leicester Falcons celebrating going onto the field. The Vikings being good sports, of course, giving handshakes and giving a chance to congratulate the Leicester Falcons for their promotion to the Premiership. The Leicester Falcons earning a spot into the Prem, I presume in the North next year, though there's some debate on where the Midlands fall, I suppose. I assume they'll be in the Prem North next year. What a good moment for them. The Leicester Falcons have run a program so well this season. We've been with it all year as part of Onside Productions. We've done such a good job here, or they've done such a good job here. I like to think we've done a good job here. Such a great job by these Leicester Falcons. They came in with a new business model to build up their team. They have great coaching staff and great players. They got leaders from America and the UK. And they've built up this team to get a promotion from Division 1 into the Premiership, moving in to the Division 1 final next week, or I believe that's 2 weeks. Division 1 final in 2 weeks. Next week. Next Sunday. There you go. Thank you. My producer, Steve, helping me out there. No, Div 1 is indeed 2 weeks. Here at Onside Productions, we have so many finals that we're covering. It's actually hard for me to keep track. These Leicester Falcons will be in the Division 1 final in 2 weeks of the weekend of September 8th, September 9th. And we'll see them again here. That game, I'm sure, means something to them. You get the medal. You get the chance to play in the stadium. Obviously, we'll be there streaming it. That's great. I don't want to speak for them. many teams in this situation would be most happy with this promotion because it gives you a chance to play at the highest level. And you have returning players here, running backs, that whole stable of running backs that you see. You have this defense led by Taylor Brown. You have a lot of talent on this Leicester Falcons squad, and they are building up their program from below in terms of age. They're building up their program within there, and you can see both these teams have great full rosters in this Division I semifinal. Now to talk a bit about the Vikings. What a great showing by them coming down here to Leicester's home stadium as the #2 seed. Both of these teams were undefeated. It was a hard-fought match. Heartbreaking for those Vikings because with only a few minutes left in the game, they not only scored a touchdown that would have tied it, they went for 2 points and pulled out the lead, only to have the Leicester Falcons have a first down run by Francis to the right, and then an over 40-yard run by Ogundana for a touchdown, and then a 2-point conversion to push out the lead to 15-8, which is the final score of this game between the Leicester Falcons and the Northumbria Vikings in this Division I semifinal. Northumberland. So I'm sorry if I've said that wrong the whole game. I apologize. I went to Vikings at a certain point, but I do apologize. I really am sorry. Northumberland Vikings. I apologize. What a great showing by the Vikings here. An even better showing by the Falcons on the scoreboard. And you can see that team running around, celebrating here as they're going to do the hip hip hoorays right after the handshakes. Great to see so many fans here, and again, great to have all of you tuning in to Onside Productions here at Leicester Road Stadium. A big win here, as you can see, the Leicester Falcons starting to gather together on the sideline for the hip hip hoorays. A great gesture here by the Vikings. Number 8 from the Vikings, Dick Carr, giving a round of applause to the fans here, showing great sportsmanship here in Brit Ball. And here are the Leicester Falcons being announced to the home crowd here at Leicester Road Stadium, celebrating, facing the home crowd, applauding as they deserve to be. Lucas Swain in his 100th game. These leaders on this team doing so well. Joe Brammer, Francis, Taylor Brown, this outstanding defensive line. There's Gums jumping up there. What would this team be without some of Gums' key runs throughout the day? I'm sorry, it's Richard Swain, I believe 66 in his 101st game today. Only 100 more to go to get to 200. 99 to go. Vikings there on the sideline as well. Such a down feeling, but I think they have a lot to be proud of here. Not everybody gets to a semifinal. Work hard to get here next year. I'm sure that's their goal, get that promotion. Now some of the management giving a round of applause to the crowd. I'm sure they're grateful to be here. The elements weren't as much of an effect on the game as we thought. The rain stopped around halftime. I will say it was mostly a ground game from both sides of the ball with just key passes spread throughout. Poindexter did a great job, particularly his connection with Connor Joyce, making some great plays throughout the game. But more plays coming from the left side of the now smoking Leicester Falcons. I'm not sure exactly what effect they've chosen to use, but it looks like plumes of green smoke erupting from some sort of canister in a player's hand. I think it's one of those where you probably shake it up and you pop it open here. So some celebratory smoke for the red-hot 12 wins in a row. 12 wins in a row here. Now coming up here, we have the Vikings head coach coming here to talk about this game. What a good game for Brit Ball, and we're so happy to have him here just coming up the stairs right now as we get microphones and headphones set up. Why don't you come in here, Coach? Offensive coordinator, I apologize. All right, so I'll hold this mic for you if that's all right. Yeah, hold on. Get the camera on us here. All right, first of all, I do apologize. For the fans at home, can you tell us your name, please?
It's Jonathan Rooney.
All right, so Jonathan, Obviously today, it's not the result you want, but let's talk about the good things that happened today before we dwell on the last couple minutes here. Let's talk about your team that stood up and did so well. How did they do?
Oh yeah, we couldn't be prouder of the boys. Early season, we were written off as mid-table. Make weights. Obviously, firing a coach after 2 games is tough for a program. Coming in on a short times program, but the guys responded to every single thing we put out there. Every change we made was met with a smile and with vigor. And you can't beat a brotherhood. And you know, today we played a Falcons team that are mean and together in a brotherhood. And actually, that was a great game of football. Maybe not one for the offensive, you know, the scoreboards and the exciting plays, but the conditions made it difficult. But we matched them stride for stride on toughness, and I couldn't have asked for more.
I agree that you stood up here. No one can call you a mid-table team now.
No, sir.
Again, let's talk about a few more positives. Let's talk about the team's players that were out of position. You had a lot of people have to step up and try new things.
Well, number 4, who caught the 2-point play, is a tackle. He's been club president at Northumberland University. Has been an offensive tackle for us. He's playing tight end after one practice, and we had the timeout on the 2-pointer just to tell him, you just got to flip your hips, baby. If you flip your hips on this play, you'll be money, because he can catch, he can run, great football IQ. So a huge amount of love to Howard Snaith, the tight end who stepped up. We got our DBs playing receiver. Unfortunately, last week we lost 5 of our top 6 receivers. I think the early conditions would have kept the game fairly similar, and we would have gone power on power anyway, because we showed it was close like that. I think when it dried out towards the end, if we'd had some of our guys out there, we could have got a little bit more jiggy with it, and it could have been a bit more interesting. But Paul Richardson played slot receiver rather than tight end today to facilitate that change. Josh Penny played every snap of the first half. Unfortunately, you see him limping away. All the guys who moved position, they just never faltered, they never blinked, they never hesitated. And win, lose or draw, it doesn't, you know, nothing will break that bond. And those players can hold their heads up so high.
And Connor Royce stepped up with those big catches as well, despite being a defensive back.
Yeah, and at the end, that was interception number 12 on the season.
It's great to see
so
from a player.
11-1, 12 interceptions in a season. Club captain. He's actually the only Viking that's played every single Viking game. So this is game number 52.
That's excellent.
And he's played every single game, and he's a player that we think that can kick on to the GB level. Our big goal as a club, like we're really glad we came here and competed, and I think the right team won, and I think the team that oozes Premiership quality. I think they were the right team to go forward. We've got to get an off-season program. We've got to get a good lift in. We've got to put on a little bit of weight, and we'll be back. And this has been a great step on the journey. A great step.
2 questions for you, Coach. I hate to have to do this to you, but talk me through the difference in feeling between when you get that touchdown and the 2-point conversion versus the next drive.
Well, it's absurd, but that's why we play the game. It's agony and ecstasy, isn't it? The smile on Howard's face, the fans, the parents. We didn't bring that many. We didn't bring as many as we'd hoped. It's a long trip for us on a bad weather weekend, but the smiles around there, those memories will last forever. Like the game, I always say to the guys that the scoreboard will take care of itself, and a more complete team won today, and we're okay with it. We made peace with that because we didn't let ourselves down. We played up, we played well, we played hard, and actually those moments will last. You know, wins last forever, but those feelings last forever, and we always try and have a few more of them next season than we had last season, and we'll be in a great shape.
Exactly. These players can always call back to this no matter what happens. Oh, yeah. How many players have even gotten to play in a semifinal? But as you segued, moving on to next season, that's what it is about. Today you were missing five big players, including some stars, and you got plans for next year. So talk about that, and then we'll finish up.
Well, we've got to go away and decide exactly what's happening. Obviously, I'm a head coach at Durham University. We're coming off a pretty good year.
I'll say.
Yeah. So we've got to figure out exactly where we get the game and where we find the time. Coach O'Regan, this is his first year as a head coach. He's actually my special teams coordinator at Durham, and we play pretty good special teams, and I nominated him for this role because, I mean, he's tireless, and our pre-season schedule is already out, sort of at a management level. We're moving forward, like we say. A long period of rest, a long period in the weight room. Any more than that might be giving it away. But I know that Noel and I know that Guy have such a great setup here that we pre-seasoned these guys this year. Not out of people say, oh well, why would you go with a rival? Why would you pre-season a rival? It's like, because they're the best football club with the best setup, with the best fan base, with the best facilities. Two clubs that are going out of the way to stream the game and play the game hard in the right way. We want to be all about the Falcons. So hopefully we get to pre-season, schedule these guys up in pre-season, give them a tune-up for the Premiership, give us a tune-up for a run at this, and we just continue to grow with like-minded individuals who want to take the game forward.
Thank you so much, Coach. Let me just say on behalf of both Britball and Onside Productions, it's not just the Falcons who are worth emulating. I think your club is as well. Obviously, you had a great season here. It's a conclusion here, but it's something you can build off of, and these people can always have that forever.
It's another step on the journey. I'd like to thank Onside as well. It's been great. We obviously got our scout film nice and early because we could just watch your reruns, but it's fantastic to see, and without hard working volunteers, this game's not going to grow. And maybe there's a promised land in the future, but it might be 5-10 years away. But it's going to take people like us who are working hard to grow this game, and that's ultimately what we want.
Good luck to you. Good luck to the Vikings, and good luck to you in the Uniball season. Thank you so much. All right, here we have the head coach coming up here of the Vikings.
How's it going?
All right, how there for the fans at home who don't know you, your name and then your role, obviously head coach here.
Yeah, so I'm Coach O'Regan. I'm head coach at the Northumberland Vikings. That's me.
What more could you say here? Let's talk about the good. Obviously, we talked about that with the offense coordinator as well.
Yeah.
Can you talk about what went well tonight and what you could take forward?
Yeah, so we
Go ahead. I'll hold it away from you.
Right. Yeah, so we came into this game with quite a few injuries. We were quite banged up from the Sandwell game. But our offense were fantastic. We basically had to change our offensive game plan in 1 week. We came out a lot more run heavy today because we just had to. But the guys were fantastic. Whatever we've asked them to do all season, they practice hard, they play hard, and you don't go 10-0 in your division without being a good football team. So, but credit to the Leicester Falcons. They were fantastic today. We knew it was going to be a tough game, but if you look at their scores against teams in their division, and then we ran them real close, and we're real proud, and I'm sure they're going to do very well in the Premiership next year. So.
Obviously, I talked to the offense about the offense side of the ball with Coach. Yeah. Let's talk about your defense. This Leicester Falcons offense has a lot of power, a lot of running.
Absolutely.
And overall, you limited them much more than just about any other team in the country did this year.
I mean, we scouted them really hard, and we know they like to run the inside zone, and we know they run it until teams find a way to stop it. So part of our game plan was stopping that right off the bat and forcing them into passing situations. We were confident that if we got them to pass the ball, we'd be able to pick them off, which we did. We'd be able to cover them, which, aside from a couple of blown coverages early doors, I think we did a good job of that. I think we were just unlucky on the day.
Your first year as a head coach here for this club. Let's talk about the difference of where you were a year ago versus right now. How does it feel?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a big learning curve for me. I'm special teams coordinator down at Durham Saints for Coach Rooney. So we've kind of got a bit of a role reversal going on here at the Vikings. But it's been a good learning curve. It's been a while since I've tasted defeat at either team. It's a bit of a bitter pill to swallow, but head coaching's great, and it's been a fantastic opportunity to come into the team, after the first 2 wins and be able to take them on. And we've just got a fantastic bunch of guys. If we can keep the nucleus of that team together, we'll be here again next year.
Well, let's go ahead and look forward to next year. Other than keeping the club here, getting the healthy guys back that you were missing today. Yeah. What are the other plans to make sure you do get back here next year? Yeah,
we need to get in the gym as a team. We need a lifting culture going. The guys who aren't involved in Uniball as coaches or players, we need to get them in the gym. We need to get them up to speed. We played a lot of rookies today, So Dan Sibbald, out number 34, our running back, you know, he was a rookie to the sport 6 months ago, and, you know, he got some good yards against a good Leicester defence. You know, we need to recruit more rookies like that in the area, because the Northeast is a real hotbed for American football, but we need to get the message out there that, you know, there's good teams you can go play for, and us being one of them, come along and give it a go, you know. We're just trying to grow the game as best we can.
Let's highlight that rookie running back for a second there, Daniel. He was in on a very key drive there at the end. That's a lot of trust on you guys. And that really shows that someone can come in, no previous playing experience, and step up and do that in the big game.
Yeah, no, we had no worries about putting Dan in the game. He comes to practice, he's at every session, he practices hard. Whenever we make any changes to the playbook, he's the first one to be asking questions. He's an intelligent kid, and he's got a great work rate. And, you know, as a coach, you can work with that. You know, if a guy's committed and he can show effort and he's willing to learn, you know, we can work with that.
Right.
Absolutely.
Well, as I said to your offensive coordinator, he was very effusive in his praise of the Falcons, rightfully so, and showing great sportsmanship.
Absolutely.
You have been as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Both of you are both clubs worth emulating. I think it's both that you were great here. You're both great for Britball to see you step up like this and run such a well-run club.
Thank you.
And we just want to say thank you from Onside Productions and from Britball.
Appreciate that.
All right, thank you so much, Coach.
Cheers.
All right, now we have head coach here coming in from these victorious Leicester Falcons with some good sportsmanship, shaking the hands of the head coach here. Well, what can you say on a day like this, Noel? I'll hold this one just for volume's sake.
You haven't told me,
all
right. I don't know. No, it was a great game. They're a hard team to play against. Probably the hardest team we've faced this year. Do you understand why they're 10-0? Just wish we could have games like this every week. I keep saying that all the time, face somebody hard. Our offence didn't really play that well today. The defence won us that, like they say. You know, offence wins your games, but defence wins your championships. And I think the show today, our defence is best in the country in this division.
Let's talk about your defense here. On conditions like this, the defense is always at a bit of a disadvantage because the offense knows where they're going. The defense has to react, and a wet field can make you just lose that split second. Did you run into that today at all, or do you think your defense managed to overcome it?
I think we overcome it really well. As you can see, that the QB, Poindexter, he likes to run around a lot. We watched loads of film, and we knew which way was going to go. He had kind of a tendency that his legs don't move when he's handing it off, and when he's going to run, he tends to lean one side, which is what we practiced on. We knew he was going to roll out right, and it never left. But then he did it in the second half, rolled out twice.
I noticed that.
And I was like, oh, God, you did that on film. What are you doing that for? So they've got a lot of good players, and I thought number one had a great game. Their number one who got ejected last week. That got
Paul Richardson,
which rightly so, because that was never an ejection. It was a great game. I'm proud of all the players, all the coaches. A shout out to my wife at home, Becky, because she says I got to give her a shout out. So I've done it now. I'm in a good book, so I can go to the pub now.
Rightfully so. As a head coach myself, I can say that spouses, girlfriends, family members, they give a lot to these coaches. Feel free to talk about your family and give them a thanks.
Yeah, all of them. So, without their backing, I wouldn't be doing this now, which is something I love. And, and Andy Davis down there, I can see him like I'm the Brian Clough and he's the Peter Taylor. I'm the one kicking things around, he's calming me down. So a big thank you to him. And also to Guy Kersey, because without his support and obviously building the team, we wouldn't be here either. So the goal was, when I joined here 4 years ago, or 3 years ago, 4 years ago, was Premiership football, and we've done that. So that's my goal. I can go now, I can retire, or I can find another team that's in the third division that can bring them back up.
Teams in this situation, it's actually a bit awkward. So you have this game, which is the big game. You earn the promotion at your home stadium in front of your home fans.
Yeah.
You get 2 weeks off, and then you have a final that doesn't actually get you promoted. So what are you looking at in that game? Are you going to play more rookies, or are you just going to go out there and perform?
Offense are playing defense, defense playing offense. I said we'll do that. No, we still want to go unbeaten. It'd be nice to go up, whole season unbeaten with the bowl game. Not many bowl games. In my career, when you play, you don't get too many bowl games. When you do get there, you need to make the most of it. So we need to. And last time we beat Newcastle in the bowl, we'll do it again. It is important. I will still be shouting on the sideline. I don't like losing at anything. You can ask my family that. I hate it. One thing I hate is losing, no matter what it is. It could be I don't know, Monopoly, or it could be, you know, ticking it with a little. I hate losing with a passion. So there's a few players out there who the bowl will be their last game. They'll be retiring, so we've got to play for them. I'm looking down there and I can see Rob, who's just had a baby girl and she's not very well, not doing very well, but she's all right now. So he's got to go back to hospital now. That's the kind of commitment of the players, and the bowl means so much to them.
Of course. Let's talk about some of the sides of the ball that were strong here, and then we'll finish up.
Yeah, sure.
Your run game's been a staple of you all year. This three-headed monster. Obviously, you saw on the go-ahead drive, you had Francis get a first down to the right, and then Ogundana to the left, and then you had Gums with some key runs as well. Let's talk about that running game from the trench warriors up front to the running backs to everything else.
It was.
All right, we good? Sorry, go ahead.
So it's clear that they've done a lot of film of us, and they knew that our strongest point was the running game down the middle, which they blocked off quite well. So we made a few adjustments, so we decided to run the outside. You know, it's great when you've got depth on your squad where you can have Gums run in the middle and Francis. So when that works, then we're being Toulouse on. Now Toulouse, I don't know if you can see his face, but he was gutted. He wasn't started. He was gutted he wanted to put on. So I think I might have to upset him a few more times for the bowl game and make him run. It was a great run at the end.
He seemed like he was willing to run towards the end there.
Oh my life! He was fed up. He wanted to.
The explosion around the edge
was unreal.
The blocking got him a first down, and then he got the touchdown.
He got a touchdown. Yeah. It was a great block by Vic on the outside by the tackle. So yeah, I'm really pleased, as you can see.
Let's talk about your defense.
Yeah.
I think they actually stayed away from Taylor Brown most of the game, but he's done a good job leading the defense.
Without Taylor, I mean, I had money on him catching the ball at the end in the end zone. He should have caught that really, but. The defence, Taylor, they did keep away from Taylor. We brought Taylor down and we put another safety in, but then they decided to throw it, so we pushed Taylor back. They played a 2 tight end on one side, so we adjusted the game and put a 4-down lineman to block the hole because they're coming through too easily. And I don't make them calls. You know, it's people on the sideline like Wayne comes and tells me. Then I've got Rob Urquhart who told me as well, and Andy who give me all these ideas to do. I just follow them. It's easy being a head coach. You know what I mean? It is easy. If you got good coaching stuff, it's easy being a head coach.
When you have players and coaches like you do, I'm sure it's a lot easier.
I still get stressed out. I've still got to, I still yelp and shout. And they know that. And I still do a bit of coaching, but not too much. I'll leave it to them. Like you said, when you got a team like that, I'll let them get on with it. You know.
All right. So going into the Prem, obviously, every running hole is a bit smaller.
Yeah.
Every passing completion is a bit harder to get. Every defensive stop's a little bit more effort. What are your plans to make sure that these Leicester Falcons compete there like they did here?
We're gonna recruit well, I think. Again, we're gonna start training straight after the bowl. You know, it's a tough division. That's why you want to coach. For a coach, that's why you want to be in the Premier League. Every game is going to be hard, but I'm looking forward to it. We will be prepared, very prepared. Without a doubt.
Well, thank you so much, Coach. As I've said to all the coaches, and I reiterate this from both Britball and Onside Productions. Both these clubs are worth emulating, and we're so grateful to have this level of Britball here in the UK and these Leicester Falcons that you've partnered with us here. Thank you so much, Coach. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.
Cheers, man. All right. That's great.
So here we go here, just the last bit of closing shots here. The Leicester Falcons stretching out, showing both these programs here, showing a lot of heart. You have the Falcons and the Vikings here at the end of the game. Great to hear from these coaches, both showing so much respect to each other, and these players, I'm sure, feel a mutual respect as well. So, again, from Onside Productions, just want to say thank you to everyone. This has been an absolutely outstanding opportunity to see Britball, the finest of Division 1. And just so I want to say thank you to all of our sponsors and to the Leicester Falcons, who not only have been with us throughout the regular season, but also had us here in the playoffs, streaming it here. We got a chance to see some excellent games, not just throughout the year, but especially today. So thank you again from all of us at Onside Productions. You had me on comms along with Mick. You have Steve. You have all of our cameramen here. Everybody. David? I'm shouting out to everybody. Steve, who else do I have to say? David, all of our cameramen, all of our crew, and then to everyone else over in Leeds doing that game as well. Thank you so much from Onside Productions. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.